did you get into this, man? So you're 26. You have countless streams of income. You're doing all this all the shit that's on like Instagram, YouTube, that's all seems like it's kind of scammy, but then you somehow figured it out and you're having some kind of crazy success and you own your own house and you're 26 and you live with your fiance. That's pretty dope shit right there.
Dude, thank you. Yeah. So, well, I don't know. I know like a lot of it has to do with like the way I was raised. So like I was raised by a single mom her whole life, came from a different country. I'm originally from Russia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like you can't tell because I don't really have an accent, right? That's like what a lot of people say. Like,
I was interested in where you're from.
Like the darker skin is from there. Europe, Russia, like technically it's just all over the place. I'm like a mutt of like 5-6 different cultures, but moved here when I was little, saw my mom growing up, like, you know, she was in her 20s, you know, raising me. So wow. Like, and so like she had me at 18, like right at 18. Hard. Yeah. My dad died when I was young. I was 3 years old. I didn't really know him. So it wasn't like a big deal, right? Like I think when when you're like 8, 9, 10, you're like, oh, whoa, what happened? But when you're like that small, it's a little bit less of a impact on your life, especially if you have a strong second parent. Unless you end up in the foster system, that's a whole nother thing. But luckily I didn't. And she raised me, dude. And like, I think I have a lot to thank to her because she told me, you know, like, or I saw her struggling and kind of like, I don't want to be working 2-3 jobs by the time I'm, you know, 30, 40. You know, and now she's found her calling. She's a massage therapist now. So she owns her own business and she loves what she's doing. And yeah, so like, I guess some of it has to do with that. And I feel like I went to Arizona State University for literally a semester. Like I did online school for 1 semester. And I was like, really for her, because she was like, oh, go to school, you know, kind of like the older mindsets, like school or you're going to have a shitty life. That's it. There's no in between. Right. And it's funny because now she's an entrepreneur, right? She does massage. So it's like, you kind of got me, you know? Yeah. So I went to school just to try it. Cause I told her, I was like, I know I don't want to go to school. Cause I was already sloughing or skipping school to some people like in 12th grade. Sloughing. Wait, that's what we call it. It's like skipping school. Same thing. That's what we call it here. Is that a Utah thing? Yeah, I think so.
Sloughing. Yeah. Okay. I want to go slough later.
Yeah.
Sounds like sex.
It does. You're right.
Like sloppy sex.
It's horrible sex. Yeah.
The worst, man.
Yeah. No. So I would skip school and like, not that I wouldn't get good grades. Like I was like pretty much 4.0, like 3.8 and still skipping school, you know?
Yeah.
Technically I could have graduated a year early, but the whole thing was like, if I don't, I can just take 2 classes and just stick it through 12th grade, like with 2 classes. So I'd miss like most of the day. So I had a lot of free time on my hands. So I had 2 classes, English, which I could have taken the year before, just to get it over with. And, an extracurricular, which is like whatever it could have been art. I chose like weight training. Cause I was like, oh, health would be kind of cool. You know, like might as well weight lift and like almost like a free gym membership. Hang out with my friends at school, which is another class. I was just like, sometimes I'll go, sometimes I won't. Cause I thought like there's a lot more priorities. That's when I stumbled across, I mean, I was already kind of investing. I was already interested in it. I started at like 14, 15 years old. Just because again, same thing, like I saw my mom struggle. She didn't know anything about investing. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. I was playing a game called RuneScape. I don't know if you remember RuneScape or World of Warcraft. Any of those two?
I remember World of Warcraft.
Okay. So like they have like an exchange on there where it's like you, which is kind of like what NFTs are starting to become, but like you could go and you could earn, I don't know, items, right? Like any like armor, whatever, and you could sell it in game for money. And that was seemed like a way to like, I wouldn't say level up in the game, because there's obviously like different levels and different things you can do. But in that world, it was like, I could I could kill monsters, whatever, right? Like in video games, get items, sell them, and now I have a bunch of gold. And now I can speed up the leveling process like exponentially, right? So I'm like, wow, that's interesting. And this is like, again, at 14, 15, I wouldn't even realize like that these were connected to later. But then that's what got me interested in investing. Cause I was like, what if I could do that in real life? Like, what if I could literally go get a bunch of items, whether it's like right now it's Teslas, right? Like houses, Airbnbs, like that's the next thing. Crypto miners, whatever it is, like I get a bunch of different things that make me income that I can essentially level up in life faster than if I were to AKA go to school. Right. So that's kind of what led me down that path, man. And it's been an interesting journey, honestly. Like my fiance, like super supportive, like loves what I'm doing, which is, I don't think I could have done it without her by my side. Cause like, there's certain things that it get, on difficult days, it gets really hard, it's like, man, like this is crazy. Like I'm kind of pushing the envelope on what is possible as far as entrepreneurship and taking a lot of risks that most people, not even my age, but like younger or older, are just don't want to or scared to. And I'm just like hungry for risk, dude. Like I sometimes I even have to tell her, like, I'm like, cause she works, she's a loan officer. So she deals with mortgage. So she makes decent money. She's been in the business for, I think, 3 years now. Oh, wow. Probably close to 6 figures, like, if not over a little bit over 6 figures. So she's doing really well. And sometimes like I have to kind of tell her, like, I'm on it, like we're on the same path, essentially. Like we're both growing. She's really young, making a lot of money. I'm really young, doing a lot of things, making decent money. I don't want to say like it's crazy. It's not like I could retire tomorrow, but I could, if I wanted to take a year off, I could, you know what I mean? Kind of deal. And I can thank, again, my mom and certain decisions I made early on for that. But like, now it makes me think, okay, like I can do all these things, but like for her, it's like, it's too much risk. It could be scary, like she's living a normal, I guess, like American dream lifestyle where it's like safety is there. With me, it's like tomorrow, one of my businesses could go to zero. Like YouTube, what if YouTube disappears? Which again, that's not a big thing, but like, what if Turo disappears, or what if Airbnbs, which is like the next path, or like, what if crypto mining disappears, or just crypto in general? Like a lot of the things I built up could just disappear. And I'm like, man, that's a scary thought. But then at the same time, it's like, there's a reason why I'm going down 7 different paths, why I'm trying to create multiple incomes, because you never know which one could go away. And that's what's scary on the other end, is like when COVID hit, it's like a lot of people lost their jobs, including me for a moment. Like for my boss was like, I was working for a startup and he's like, I'm gonna have to lay you off for a couple months. And I'm like, a couple months, that could be like 2 months. It could be 12 months. It could be like, I don't know. Like he didn't give me an exact. So I was like, no way am I allowing myself to go back to working for someone with the anytime moment where I could lose it all, right? Like lose my whole stream of income, the one stream of income, right? So I'd rather have 7 and lose 1 and be like, oh, well, I'm just going to pivot or lean into one of the other ones more. So yeah, that's kind of how I think about things. And like, it might sound a little weird, cause I don't know if everyone thinks that way. I know there are a lot of entrepreneurs that think that way, but, yeah, I don't know. It's fun. It's fun too. Like I get to like experiment every day. Like it's never boring. Like, like a mundane job is like, you sit there, you're handed a task. You're like, here you go, do this. And you're like, okay, like I can do that. I've done that for the last 17 weeks, 18 weeks, whatever. Like I could do that again. Maybe they'll give you some more responsibility. They're like, oh, wow, here's like a bigger file, like, oh, you can work. And I'm like, oh, it's the same thing, but just a little bit more But with this, it's like tomorrow, like, again, like there's a little bit part of me is like, oh, I could like stumble across the next Bitcoin, or like, I could invent something that's like super interesting, or like, I could, like, I have a bunch of ideas where like we talked about a little bit earlier, like an app, like I could build an app, it gives me the freedom to do what I want. And just like, I'm writing a book right now. I'm like, dude, I could just go tomorrow and just write the book. Like that could be the whole thing, for tomorrow. It's just crazy to think about. Like there's the freedom of choice. I feel like with this, that people think that there is no choice, right? Like they think entrepreneurship is actually lack of choice, because then you're working 80 hours for yourself. And there is that. But I think it's fun. I don't know. That's how my brain works.
Yeah. I mean, and those 80 hours feel like 5 hours working inside of, or working for somebody else, like True. You have so much empowerment. Yeah. It's super cool. So say like you're just some kid and or like even just like related back to yourself, but you're starting and you don't know what you're going to do with your life. And you don't know where you're at. Like, how do you start into this scary world, drop shipping, Turo, all this kind of crazy things you get ads for and then you watch for 6 minutes? Like, what's the beginning?
Yeah. So I hate to like point to Gary Vee and say like, just try something, you know, or like just dive into something. And then if you don't like it, pivot. But it's kind of that. Like, I tried drop shipping. This was like, when did I go to Thailand? So I quit my job, like first job I ever quit, like completely, like just, and no backup plan, right? Like I have some, this was, I think 4 or 5 years ago. This is like right when I met my fiance. So I guess 4 years ago. I think we were like 6 to 8 months in our relationship. And I kind of did that, right? Like I kind of just jumped out of something with nothing, no save line, which was not a good idea. That's what I would say. Don't do that. Right. So you have to have some kind of backup plan, right? Or something already kind of working, meaning like if it's an Etsy shop, right? Like if you're like, oh, I'd really like to make bracelets, or I really like to I like to wear really cool clothing, right? And you're like, oh, I could maybe make a cool shirt. Like I could make the next Supreme, and it might not be the next Supreme. It might be ass. But the fact that you went and tried, maybe sold a few t-shirts, gives you a little taste of that and be like, okay, do I like that? Right. It gives you that taste. Like, could I do this? If I 10X this, would it be entertaining? Meaning 10X the amount of time you put into it, 10X your marketing strategy, 10X your output of clothes, 10X your hustle, meaning like maybe you have to, rather than just selling to your friends and family, maybe you have to go to concerts, or maybe you have to go on the street, like literally on the corner, like a lemonade store, and like, you know, just kind of just show your shirts, like, and like hold them up. And like, if that's scary to you, don't do entrepreneurship. Right. Or at least I don't want to discourage anyone. Cause I think some people might just be doing it out of fear. Like they don't want to do it because they're scared. Sometimes that's when you should lean into it. So I guess it depends on what side of the boat you're on, but I think it's like, if you want the freedom of being a creative, or like, if you want the freedom of just working for yourself rather than the man, and you think that you have, as long as you're not, I don't want to even discourage 80-year-olds, because I want to be like, unless you're 80 years old, don't do it. But even then, like, what if you're like a crazy good worksman, right? Like a craftsman, or like a wood, like you can make cool, like, I don't know, cutting boards or whatever, right? You can make something cool and you're old, and dude, like whether or not you're, right now, maybe you're working for someone and you're like, my passion is this on the side, you could just lean into it a little bit more, right? So it depends on where you're starting out. But if you're saying like, okay, I'm a kid, no idea what I want to do, I want to start something that creates a second source of, or even a first source of income that's for myself, I just lean into something that you like, you know, and like try it. And like, I'll tell you, like my first ever business. So I started investing 14, 15. My first ever business I ever started was 16 or 17, completely failed, completely. Like I invested like $500 into wristbands. It was just for school. It's like, I wanted to do like a clothing brand, right? I was like, that'd be cool. It was called One of a Kind. So I started learning branding. I started learning marketing. This is like when Gary Vee wasn't even Gary Vee, you know, he was like not even talking the way, like he was still, I think he was just coming out of Wine Library, right? Maybe like 2 years after. So like, I was like hungry to learn, because like he was one of the first. Ty Lopez, this is before the Ty Lopez Lamborghini video, you know? So I was like, marketing was, or at least online marketing was very hard to find information about. So anyway, so I just did like what you would do as like an entrepreneur back in the day, which is like no online presence really. Like I had an Instagram, which is like right when Instagram came out, before it was bought by Facebook. I started that and I launched it, and I was like, I'll sell shirts. Like I'll do that. I'll give out free wristbands at school. People will go to the website. People will go to my Instagram. They'll buy shirts for me. Bada bing, bada boom. I'll create a brand. Failed. Just never, like it never took off. People wore my wristbands, but no one really like, and plus at that age, dude, no one has money to buy. Like they'd have to take money from their parents to buy your stuff. So it's like, Who are you really marketing to? So I had no idea what I was doing, but funny story, that brand, One of a Kind, I realized if I would have just kept going for 8 years, right? And to preface this, so get this. 8 years go by. And I signed up for like a Nordstrom notification, like, you know, like you get subscriptions through your email, whatever. And I'm sifting through my email, trying to delete a bunch of stuff, reporting things as spam. This is 8 years later. I looked at like one email and says Nordstrom new line. I'm like, what the heck? Okay. Clicked it. Maybe it was even by accident, but I clicked it and it said one of a kind brand. And I was like, no shit. Someone went to Nordstrom with a one of a kind, like literally the exact same. I mean, obviously different clothing, different apparel, but the branding, which is like, I think the most important thing, right? And the culture, I guess, would be like really close to there too. But that was there. And it was the exact same name. Someone sold it to Nordstrom. And then now Nordstrom represents one of a kind. And I was like, man, if I would have just kept this up, there was a possibility I would have been that guy. So I'm like, so I guess it's not about really like starting over all the time. Sometimes it's just keep going. Like sometimes it's just never stop, even if you suck and you wasted $500, $1,000, you know, like, so sometimes it's that. And a lot of it, like, you don't know what's going to fail until you've done it for long enough too. Right. So sometimes like you might be like, oh, this is not going anywhere, which is what I thought back then with that thing. But there was also lack of experience, which I could have gained. Right. And then just perseverance. It's like, oh, well, if I would have spent 8 years on it, maybe I would have been the Nordstrom or Macy's would have taken, or whoever, right? Kohl's. I mean, not that I want to, but you know what I mean?
Sure.
So something like that. And yeah, I think that's kind of where you'd want to go, is like lean into something, be determined, like on days that you don't want to do it, keep going. Like just I hate to be general about the advice, but that's kind of what it is. It's like, because it's so, like, I can't give detailed advice to a broad question, right? You know what I mean? Like if it's like, what would I do if I started over? Well, I don't know. Obviously I would have bought Bitcoin at like 10 cents, right? Like, but like now today's market's different, right? Now it's NFTs, or now it's like meme tokens are a thing. And like, it's a whole new market. And there's so many different things you could try. But as far as business, I think that's the advice, is like, try things. If you really just love something, you find something that you're like, wow, this is so much fun, double down. And you don't need to like quit your day job to start it, or even to get it going. Like, I think I jumped into YouTube just a little too early. Cause like if I had like a sales job making 80, 100K a year, which is definitely doable in this market, I think I could hire a full-time editor, use half my income, hire a full-time editor. But then all my freedom goes out the window, right? So it's also like, how much freedom are you willing to give up? Because if it's like, if it's like, oh, well, I could give up 20 hours of my week to do my passion, but 20 of it goes back into like making an income, you know, maybe that's it, right? Like, and you can play around with the numbers, you know, like 1 month you just, you know, if you're on the verge of, you know, quitting your job because you hate it, quit. Like, especially if you're young. I mean, I hate to say that, but it's like, there's so much opportunity out there. Like, you don't know what your skills you're going to learn along the way. And like, you know, you don't have to just quit raw turkey and just hope that this is going to work out. See if it works out, right? Like if you're starting to make like a few $100 a month on something and you're like, wait a second, this is kind of working. Figure out what that equals in your day job. Like, would 10 hours a week give you that freedom to like really scale this thing? If that's the case, then maybe you give up that 10 hours, you know, like maybe making that extra $500, $1,000 a month or whatever, or a week, isn't worth the freedom and the opportunity. Because the opportunity cost, especially with like YouTube, for example, or any business, I would even say like that you can scale, is the fact that there is scale, right? Like you can go and triple, quadruple, you know, quintuple your income if you double down, hire a team, right? I mean, that's the dream of like an entrepreneur, is like you get people under you that are also willing to work for you. So that's the next step, is like, how do I hire a team? And I think that should be the next step for anyone that's like what's your scalability, right? Like what's your next step to, because that's the thing, is like, even if you get a business going and it's like 4 figures, right? Like a month, right? Let's say it's like 2K, 3K. It's offsetting a lot of your income or all of your income, which is great. Well, if that's the case, like, how can you make the money you're earning make more money for you, right? And I think that's the big question is like, everyone's going to have a different opinion. Some people are like, well, I hate editing. Like right now I'm like trying to hire an editor. I'm like, I don't want to sit here for 8 hours or 4 hours, whatever, a day editing a video when I could find someone that can do 80 to 100 even % of my quality, hopefully more, right? Like you'd want higher quality for if you're paying someone, but even 80% of my quality, if I can give up some of my money to get that, but I get back time, then I can focus on 5 other businesses, right? Or at least 1 more or 2, whatever. So that's kind of the thing is like, find what you love, double down on it. If it's working, once it's working well enough that it's offsetting a decent percentage of your income, you find a way to delegate some of the tasks that you absolutely hate doing. Cause there's going to be things, right? Like as an entrepreneur, you're wearing 17 hats. Like I'm sure you're doing this podcast, you're wearing like 17 different hats. You've done YouTube, you're doing YouTube, you're wearing 17 different hats, so you know what it's like.
You were saying before the podcast, it's like the starting a business or starting social media is just so hard because you have to be the editor, the producer, the director, the ideas guy, the person on camera, the person off camera, the person coordinating everything. And then also you have to live your rest of your life and like hang out with your fiance and like walk your dog. So like, that's what you're saying, how if there was just something that could make that transition a little bit easier, it helps so many new voices into the space. Yeah.
So I want to that's the kind of the goal is like one of the goals is like to build a community where, and I don't think it needs to live on Facebook. I don't think it needs to live on these platforms that are already so oversaturated. I think there needs to be something new for smaller creators, medium-sized creators. Again, bigger creators don't need it, man. Like if Elon Musk is like, hey, I really want to scratch this itch of making, let's say, electric jets. Dude, he can tweet at Boeing, right? He can just tweet at Boeing and be like, hey, or whoever, right? Whoever's in charge of or Delta, or whoever, I don't know. But Boeing's a big plane manufacturer. He tweets at them. 5 minutes later, he's on the phone with their CEO. Like, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't exist for us, right? Like, I'd say smaller, anyone under, I would even say 100K subscribers on YouTube or all social media platforms. Granted, like even TikTok, man, like TikTok's like you could have 1 million on TikTok and brands are maybe starting to take you seriously, right? Like,
sure,
it's crazy. So, I think something like that should exist. And I don't know if I'm the person to build it. I don't know if it's a multitude of people building it, but I think it would bring value and give hope to a lot of creators that are like, man, I wish I could just like talk to a developer, but like, where do you find, like, for example, like, or whoever, right? Like, let's say I need a writer for my content, like someone that sifts through information. I hate doing it, which I don't actually, I like doing that. But let's say I was in that boat and I wanted to find a writer, but like, where do you find writers? Okay, sure. You can spend 20 hours a day going through Facebook, Twitter, going through hashtags of writers and trying to find, but good luck, right? Like you can like good luck finding someone that you like working with. You have similar interests. They value your time. You value their time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like good luck, man. And if you could just have a feed and you could be like, today I'm looking for a writer. And I guess Fiverr could be a good place, right? Like we have certain things, but what if it's, what if I don't want to work for $1, right? Like, what if I'm like, I'd rather get ownership or just a friendship or something like that. There's nothing like that out there. So it's like, so I thought like the closest thing I could think of was like Tinder for creators.
So how do you fill that gap? How do you there's clearly a gap in the market. Is there profitability in that market? Like how would you scale that if you were to develop it?
Yeah, probably subscription based. I feel like that's where everything's going. I think that's going to be the easiest. Just do like something simple, something cheap. Especially if you have other features attached to it. Like, I don't know, like you could do like maybe initial free trial, like a lot of apps are doing. Sure. Then after, if you really like it, after 7 days, you subscribe $6 a month, right? Or something like that. And I think that it needs to be affordable to everyone. Cause like let's say I'm a single mom and I'm like, I'm raising 2 kids, but like on the side, I really like making jewelry, and I have a TikTok that's growing fast, and like, I need someone to take over the Etsy store, but I can't find someone that would like build one for me, or Shopify or whatever. But what if you could like go on there and like you swipe and you find someone and they're like, hey, you don't have to pay me, but like, I'll take 10% ownership. You guys sign a contract. So I think the long term, you would have to build a platform long term that allows for like contract-based work too, a little bit, but also like you could sign a virtual contract, right? Like simple, like have lawyers on the team, like on the dev team, whatever, that are familiar with these type of things. I mean, this is long term, right? But like at the beginning, yeah, you monetize with something like a subscription, and then you can move it towards more packages, and like maybe you have a special team that's like whatever the app is called. You make like a team that can help you get through to what you're looking for.
Oh, that's
you know what I mean,
dude. That's it. You have to, if you could create some kind of team that their entire job was to go through and find the best for you, and then that's what your feed is or whatever. Like, so there's some kind of personal touch. So I feel like it'd be really hard to have, 100,000 people on this app, 20,000 people looking for people, and then 80,000 people that are trying to get a job or a gig or whatever. And just to be able to have like some kind of reliability that it's going to be a good match, or like this person's actually not bullshitting in what they're doing. How could, like, if you're in Tinder, how many shitty Tinder dates happen?
Yeah.
Because you see their picture and then you're like, oh, you like cheese? Cool. Swipe right. Whereas like, how do you legitimize it? How do you make it so you can really find someone that you're looking for?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I guess it would have to be like a feedback. Like after you have a connection with someone, you work with them, maybe you do like a rating system. Once there's enough ratings that they become like a pro, or like a, like on the app, you give them some kind of like a verification badge, like this person's good to work with. Gotcha. So maybe you could do something like that later on, but it obviously there will always be like shitty people that are trying to abuse the system, or like trying to abuse your work. And I feel like with working with Fiverr enough, I feel like I've seen that too, where people are like half-assing. But I feel like if there's like it's a win-win situation, if you can create it like, hey, I'll do I really like looking through information. Let me do that for you, like sifting through your information for like, I don't know, scripts of videos or writing your stuff. If you do my editing, if you have something like that, where it's a win-win for both people, I mean, then you have something that you guys can grow together. Then you guys can like maybe build a business like Colin and Samir. Like, how did they come to be? Right. Like one of them was probably like, oh, I really like doing this. And the other one's like, oh, I kind of enjoy doing that too. Like, but I have this opposite side where I'm better at you than this, and you're better than me at this. Let's come together and build something we both enjoy, and boom. And then now they have a business. And I feel like doing it by yourself, I've noticed with any business, doing it by yourself is so much harder. Like I said, like if I didn't have my fiance for certain things, like, and vice versa, I'm sure, right? Like I provide a certain level of stability for her, emotional support, whatever it is. And vice versa. She provides that for me on days when it's hard for me. And I feel like business partners, they're more likely to succeed. Sure. They're also more likely to fail if you guys have conflicting views, right? Like if you want to, one pulls this way, the other one pulls that way, and, you end up building 2 businesses versus one, so it's like, you can have that too. But I think for speed purposes, and like, if you're trying to build something great, you need more than one person usually, whether it's right from the start or, you build slowly, which I think that's the problem. I think people get to a point like right now, I'm already like, I need an editor. I have to have it, or else it's going to take me 3 to 4 times as long to get to where I want to be. Like my goals for this year won't be met if I don't have someone there, even if it costs me, right? Like, even if it costs me money, even if it's training time, like I have to go and train them, or find videos of like other editors that are like, this is how you do this. And I can show them, right? Like, even if that, like, there's sometimes there'll be sacrifices. So yeah, I think, but the initial idea for that just kind of like, I just think that there's a gap like you said, I think there's a gap that needs to be filled.
100%.
Yeah.
I remember seeing an interview with Mr. Beast. I don't know. You might have even seen it. You seem like you're over it, but Mr. Beast has like, I think over like 100 employees right now. Like he's like one of the bigger businesses like in his town, probably,
in his, probably in his state, probably surrounding states. Yeah. Like he's one of the biggest. Yeah.
But he's saying like, yeah, I've been hiring a person a month for like the past 5 years, basically. And so he was like, right at the beginning, right when he was starting to sort of get a little traction, he's like, okay, 40% of my week is dedicated to editing. I've edited 500 videos. I don't want to ever fucking edit a video again. Even like you said, even if it's 80% the quality, like, okay, but theoretically, if 40% of my week is now free, and then this person takes this 40%, but makes it 100% of their week, they have to do it at least a little bit better, right? Because they're just going to have more time.
Yeah. Yeah. And they might take it seriously too. Like if you offer them, you're like, hey, look, we can grow faster. Like, and this is a conversation for someone maybe that you want, and maybe you don't want to give up ownership. Like maybe you don't want to give up any ownership. You want to own the Mr. Beast brand, like for whatever that is for you. Sure. You don't have to, right? So it's like, it depends on how you want to approach the business, and maybe you'll mess up. Maybe you'll hire someone that sucks and you're going to have to tell them, hey, like, it's not going to work out. So this could also fill that gap. Maybe you do want people that come on and, that are trustworthy, but maybe you want to give them a trial, right? Like that's what I'm doing with Fiverr right now. I'm like, I'll give a few editors some opportunity for money, right? That's what they're on there for. And if one of them stands out and he's like, hey, like, you've been giving me work once a week or once a month or whatever, and I want to do more, or like, I think I'm worth more. I'm like, dude, what? Maybe I'll give you like, I don't know, 1% of everything I make for the next 10 years. That would be insane if I can go to Mr. Beast size, right? Like, that would be a great opportunity. But again, they have to believe in it. They have to see the dream. You have to like, be okay with losing some equity. So there's a lot of factors with that too. So I don't know. It's tough. It's definitely a tough, like you said, there's so many hats, and that's one of the hats is like, now you're thinking like, outside of just making a video and posting it on the internet for a few thousand or millions to see whatever it is, right? Now it's like, you're thinking of like ownership. Now you're thinking, and I'm sure Mr. Beast has been thinking about that for years before he was even what he is now, which is almost 100 million on YouTube, which is crazy. So yeah, I think that, and that's so complicated. I think that's one of the most people don't realize. I would assume most people don't realize that what it takes to be a content creator. Most people think, like especially the older generation. I love my parents and stuff, or my mom and stuff, but she doesn't get it. She's like, she's like, you posted videos on the internet. I'm like, yeah. And then she's like, she thinks that's where it stops, right? She thinks I record a video and I post it, but she doesn't realize 8 hours of editing. She doesn't realize like sound quality is important. It doesn't realize what the first 10, 15 seconds of the video mean, like subconsciously to people. She doesn't know what a CTR is, right? Click-through rate. She doesn't know what a thumbnail even is. And I'm like, there's deeper things to that, right? There's like the subconscious things, the things like why red or purple is more clickable than yucky green and brown, right? Like, why is that a thing, right? Like, but there's subconscious things you have to think about too. And it's like, you're learning about like psychology, you're learning about business, you're learning about, so yeah, I think it's a crazy good skill to have.
100%.
Or I remember trying even. Yeah.
Eric, when we were doing the Creator Now thing, I remember at the beginning, he was like, one of the top like 3 skills that you can have right now is being damn good at making internet videos. It's like out of like any skill you could possibly have, because it's so everyone wants it. People are consuming internet videos for like 6 hours of every day, like that's insane.
That's crazy. Dude, that is so crazy.
If you think about it, that's 3 months of the year, man. People are consuming internet videos.
Oh my Lord. Oh, wow.
Insane.
Yeah.
And they're sleeping for 5 months of it too. Right.
Yeah. It's like, I think internet videos is the new medium, right? It's the new radio plus TV. is just YouTube content or TikTok or whatever. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, there's definitely though also that discouraging factor. Like, dude, when you edit like I've definitely edited a video for like 40 hours or something, and then you post it, and then it underperforms, and you're like, oh my God, like what the hell, man? I put a week into editing this video. This was going to be the banger, man, and then it just does shit, and you're like, where the fuck do I pivot now?
Yeah.
What are your what are your fears in the space? Like going into something, it's a little bit it's a little bit more unknown. Like it's so what's the word? Like it bounces up and down, like it's very volatile, this space, right? Like what are your fears and what could happen with social media? Maybe going along cancel culture line.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big problem. I don't think we have to worry about it too much. I mean, podcasting is obviously with like Joe Rogan's kind of, but I mean, I guess it depends on what you're talking about. I think you're higher risk if you're talking about politics. I think you're higher risk if you're talking about social issues that a lot of people might not, like big groups might disagree with. I think I don't know, just those are the main ones I can think about. But like, don't touch the pharmaceutical industry. Don't touch fast food, like things that could shake you up, big lawsuits, big things. But other than that, like, I don't think there's too much to worry about. Well, if you're a small creator and you've pumped out a bunch of content and then like YouTube, or whoever, right? It doesn't have to be YouTube, but a platform that you're very, highly associated to, and you're like, wow, I really like to be on here long term, and that platform decides to pivot, like with the kids content, right? Like that was a big thing. I'm sure there was a lot of creators that were marketing their content as kids content. I think this was 2017, 2019. I don't remember at this point, but 2015 is when they created kids, I think. And then 2017, 2019, they pivoted. And I'm sure it affected a bunch of creators. So that's a big worry, is like, what's going on at these big firms, Google, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, I guess, technically, what's going on behind the scenes that we don't know about that could affect you as a creator overnight, right? Like something that's unexpected. That kind of makes me worried a little bit. Stuff like that. I don't know. I think that's it. I don't think there's anything that like I'm personally too worried about like my what I'm doing, because I don't think I'm raising like alarm bells to a certain issue. I wrote a health book, which I wanted to be very clear in, that was like, this is not health advice. Do not like,
this
I had
is
a lawyer
all
was
bullshit.
like, you should, yeah, exactly. Like, this is just my personal like experience with like my situation. I've looked at these, because I wanted to write something more holistic, something that's not tied to pharmaceutical, but I was like, I know that this industry is huge. So I don't want it to be like, don't take vitamins, don't take your pills. It's like, well, certain things you might need pills for, like,
sure.
And, it's not like, so yeah. So that's kind of my thought, is like, I guess if you're not attacking the big industries, oil, pharma, fast food, what else? I guess the platforms themselves as a whole, like you're not like trash talking your employer, because that's what it is. Like, I love YouTube, dude. Like and this is not me kissing butt to my employer. Like, I'm literally like, I really like the opportunities they've provided for people, like you can post content, people watch it and you get paid. That's insane. Like,
that's insane.
We're living in an insane time. So, but as far as that goes, like your only worry is saying something that could, get people riled up, and people meaning groups, big groups, organizations that you don't want to mess with anyway, which is kind of scary, because it does, if you think about it, that is limiting freedom of speech, right? There is that certain aspect.
Yeah.
So there's that question of like, to what extent is it freedom and to what extent is it not, So.
Yeah. At what point does the private business that is Facebook or YouTube or Google, like when does it just become like, when are we moving towards a place where they're just going to start limiting freedom of speech more and more? Or is it eventually going to be kind of a public free space? Like what is the actual grasp of the private company in limiting free speech when it becomes, your tweet has more value than your mouth usually these days, right?
Crazy. Yeah.
So
yeah.
When are we going to pivot, or are we just going to keep going into a place where it's starting to keep suppressing voices, that are any bit different? And how would you even do it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, right now it's like, I don't even know who has more power. Does the government or do companies like Google have more power, or Facebook, right? Like, it's tough to say. 'Cause like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Like certain sectors, I'm sure. Yeah. Like Google has internet. Like they have, they won. I was actually watching a Joe Rogan podcast from like a month or something ago, but he had some guy that was about like internet security and like privacy was like his shit. And so he was saying that like 10 years ago, Google, it was like a Saturday morning and Google shut down the internet for like 55 minutes.
What?
Every website on every search engine would just say not available.
Dude,
because
today would be madness.
Yes.
Today.
So he thinks it was on a Saturday morning where no markets were open in the entire world. So he thought it was just some Google like nerd who was just like, oh, I'll fuck with them for 45 minutes, and see what happens. Because, people aren't going to figure it out in 45 minutes. Right. But basically the craziest part is that virtually all information goes through Google, because all Yahoo, Bing, they're all like mining information off of Google's search engine. They're not their own thing. Like Google is one of the only places that's actually taking all of the information in the internet and articulating a search result. And they articulate a search result in a way that's politically inclined with them. So it's not an actual like free result page, right? So they'll diminish conservative stuff and they'll up liberal stuff or whatever agenda they want to push. And if you look, how many times are you with your friends and you like, oh, well, what is this? And they're like, well, that's shitty and that's stupid. No, actually, I agree. And then you look it up. Whatever it says is the person who's right, the first one. And if the first one is politically charged and Google decides that's the first one, the conversation is set. And then those people's minds shift and then shift and then shift to the point where you're saying that thousands, if not millions of votes can shift from a situation.
Crazy. Yeah. Wow.
Wild.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess that there is that why there's a lot of people moving to like DuckDuckGo and like other search engines and stuff. There's a little bit of the movement, but you're right. I don't think that they're in the next even 10 years. I don't think we will have, and like the majority will still be with Google and YouTube. Yeah. They're the number 1 and 2 search engines. It's crazy.
He recommended the search engine Brave, which I've been using for about a week. It works
great. Brave browser. I have that.
Dude, it's great.
I only have it because of crypto though.
No, it's great. The maps function is basically unusable, but other than that, it's pretty great. Like, okay, they send you to like MapQuest or something. You're like, what the fuck or whatever the hell.
What is that?
Yeah, okay. No, but it's like 2011. Come on, get out of here. Yeah. No, but it suppresses like all ads. So like you don't have like when I'm reading an article and there's just bullshit, boobs, bullshit. Like it's like, I just want to read about the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Stop it, man. And it also doesn't track any information, which is pretty damn cool.
But cookies and stuff. Yeah, that's good.
100%. Yeah.
So I think, blockchain might change some of that, I think, too. It's weird because I feel like you saw the thing with Apple, like they added a feature where like you can use or hide your email or something on certain logins and like account setups something. So, so there was like so in case of like, let's say you use your email on a website and they have that information, they save that information. Obviously they have their own database, whatever. And then like, if that database gets hacked, then you have your email that goes to a third party that you've never given permission to. And then now they can email you. And that's why you have like a bunch of spam emails, right? That's usually how it happens. So now Apple has implemented on, I don't know if it's just on Safari, but I've noticed when I've used Apple products and I'm signing up for something new, it shows up like it's using your email, but it says hide my email. So that company, I sign up with them like for their newsletter or whatever, and they email it to me, but it's using like a forwarding service through an email that Apple controls, which means I'm safe, more safe, I guess. Apple could get hacked, right?
Yeah.
But it's less likely than something like a really small company, like let's say Yahoo, for example, or whatever. Because their security is, I'm sure, being a $3 trillion company is much higher than, something tiny. So yeah, so that's something that's interested me a little bit, but also I'm sure that there's like things in every software update like that limit your privacy and limit, and slowly stripping that away. So, but at the end of the day, the technology is still getting better, so it's like you are giving up something. I don't know. I go back and forth on it. It's like you're giving up something, but then you're gaining something. Like at what point is too much? At what point and maybe it's up to the individual. Maybe we'll all be like on Nokias and Blackberries in 5 years. Like, I don't know, but
probably not, man. We're going to be on the iPhone 16 at that point, whenever it is. But the hacking thing is interesting because I went on a Tinder date like back in the day, man, like a few years ago. And, I met up with this girl and she's like, oh yeah, my brother's over. And so I was like, okay. And her brother was in high school and he went out and he's just like hanging out. And I think it was during beginning of pandemic. So it was like Zoom days.
Okay.
And she's like, yeah, he doesn't really go to class at all. And I'm like, oh, weird. He's like, yeah, he's like a hacker or something. And I'm like, what? Interesting. Yeah. I didn't know that was a job. Like, I didn't know and then I went over and was like, so what's this hacking thing? And he starts explaining to me. And he's like, yeah, so basically the business model is there's just these kids who are, 12 to 20 basically. And he was like 15, 16. And he was like, yeah, so basically we just look for small businesses or maybe even medium businesses that have something that needs to be private, like medical information. And then we hack them and we get inside their system and then we hold them ransom. And then they pay us a bunch of money and give us a job.
What?
Yeah. That's how it works.
Insane.
So you have
15, 16 years old.
Yeah,
what?
like you potentially like billions of dollars worth of information that if you can access that, you can get $10 million off a ransom, basically.
If you don't get sued and yeah. True.
Yeah, basically. But I mean, you don't post it. You say like, I can get in. So obviously the person who set this up sucks. Hire me for more money, and then you start getting gigs. Wow. What a weird fucking world.
That is an insane thing to do. Yeah. That's like, that would be like back in the day. And I'm talking like 100 years ago, that'd be like robbing a bank and being like, your security at your bank sucks. Give me some of your bank's money and I'll be your new security guard. Like what? Like that's you'd get shot. That
probably happened. That sounds like a good like Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah, like he becomes the sheriff. And,
he becomes a sheriff.
A lot of bloody gore. And,
Great. Just a great fucking movie, man.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Oh, well, okay. Back to the YouTube Kids thing real quick. I know we're a little bit past it, but I was trying to like fact check you a little bit on the fly, but I just found out. I just want to show you this article headline here. Look at this. Okay, so
Oh, whoa, okay. YouTube
Baby Shark, first YouTube video to hit 10 billion views.
Whoa. That's weird.
Isn't that crazy? So the most popular YouTube video in the world is Baby Shark with 10 billion. That's more than the humans that exist on this planet.
Well, we know that it's like one kid watching it 275 times in a day, but that's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah. How much even if their CPMs are like $2, which I don't know what it is for kids, it might be higher.
It's probably high, man.
You think it's higher?
I think it's like finance stuff. Like it's like the same.
Really? It's that high?
Well, okay, I guess less advertisers can get on it. I might be speaking on my ass, but
I don't know. I'm just basing it off of like just like general like I'm just thinking lower CP, but let's say high. Let's say five. So it's per 1,000 views. So like so 10 million. So $50 million off one video. If it's that high, if it's five or low,
that's
I don't
insane.
know if that's lower.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's insane.
I think people like are just starting to realize the marketability of social media. Like, you know,
holy crap. That's like an
entire career.
Yeah, that's a small to medium sized bit. No, that's like a medium sized business from one video.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's like you make one video and it gets 10 billion views and then you never have to work again for the rest of your life and you live in the Hamptons, you know? Like
yeah.
It's crazy.
And when was that video posted? What was do you know? It was only a few years ago, right?
Let's see. Because isn't that an old song, basically? Baby Shark. Because I remember singing that a while ago. Baby Shark do 1 hour is the top.
Like
oh god,
Pink Fong, right? Or whatever.
The Baby Shark trap mix has 123 million. Actually
so people making money off of.
Geez, I thought it said it at 108 views. It says 10 billion. It didn't make sense in my mind.
Oh my god.
It was posted 5 years ago, but I think it only started popping off like the last 1 or 2. So
true. But $50 million over 5 years.
Yeah.
That's $10 million a year. So that's
what CEOs make at media. Like
I don't think it will continue because like you said, it'll probably drop, right? There's like a certain lifespan on everything. I mean, I could be wrong. It could just go to like
our grandkids first trillion Baby Shark.
You think so?
You never know, man.
Oh man. I guess that's true. Oh. I hope not. I don't want to listen to that song.
You don't want to listen to it ever again. No. So how up to date are you with like are you at all concerned with skyrocketing inflation right now?
No.
Why?
Because everything is tied to the dollar. I think I don't and I just learned this maybe like less than a year ago. Because I was worried at first. When I first started researching it, hyperinflation, obviously like Zimbabwe dollar, like
Venezuela,
where people are like lugging around like, or any of those countries where it's like the inflation rate's so insane that the money that you make doesn't even make sense like to keep, like you might as well just throw it in the garbage. Like you're literally, you have a better chance to hop an illegal border at that point and or legal, whatever, right? But like you have a better chance to go to another country just because of their economy and risk everything, which I mean, there's a lot of risk, right? You're taking your family or maybe you're not, right? And like you have better odds in those countries. And that's what everyone's fear is like on inflation or hyperinflation is like, if we get to that point, our livelihoods are at stake. We become a second world country again. Like, we go backwards for the first time in history, which I don't think will ever happen. At least not for like during our life. Unless something drastic changes where, for example, World War III. I hope not. I don't think that's something that a lot of people talk about because like the whole like Russia, Ukraine thing. And I think there's been so many talks. I think humans, or at least I hope politicians and humans and everyone has come to a consensus that like we have enough nukes on this world to blow it up multiple times over and that we would never stoop to that level. And if anything, we should be like decreasing the amount of nukes, which we haven't really been increasing the amount of nukes, right? Like over the last few years, we haven't been going as hard as we did back World War II days.
That we know of as
that we know of. Yeah, we've just been storing them and kind of just like letting them chill. And
Yeah, who knows what's going on in Nevada or Alaska, you know?
True. I think more likely we would have something like a cyber war where information is since information is currency, like you just said, like Google is like this big, Like, I think based off of that, there's more likelihood that like there will be a war on information, war of like, it could be like a COVID type war where not COVID itself, but like another virus that like,
we just unleash it,
genetically mutated to only attack certain
races. Oh my God.
Like that
would
stuff.
Be insane.
It makes more sense, right? Because then you protect yourself as a country, at least for the most part.
Wait, could you imagine if Hitler had that?
Oh, it would be game over. Yeah, it would be done.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't even be blamed, right?
Yeah.
There would be literally nothing.
You would know.
There was no trace. It's like, oh, why are all the Jews?
And who's blaming him? Well, who's blaming him if they're all dead? He can rewrite every history book.
Jesus Christ, bro.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. And like, you know, I'm sure there are probably thousands of scientists right now researching that, right? Like
we have that technology right now. Yeah. Not just us, but other countries. Oh, 100%. Well, with gene splicing, I think I don't know when that came out, like, but the fact that we can go in and genetically modify, just like we can, I mean, that's what we've been doing with like food, right? GMOs are genetically modified organisms. Now we can GMO humans, right? Like you can go in, if you had enough money, you can take away, like you can already DNA sequence out like your lineage. That's what 23andMe is, right? Like I don't know if you've taken one of those before,
sure.
But like it shows you your predisposition for diabetes, your predisposition for cardiovascular health. You're more likely to have blue eyes or brown eyes, right? All that is like your genetic code is data, right? So they can scan that already. They can go and remove that. So if they can do that with humans, we're way more complex than a virus. Like a virus, we've been studying for longer in a way, like at least on a, you know, on a little
molecular scale.
Yeah. Petri dish, right? Or
sure. Yeah.
Whatever.
High school.
So yeah, dude. So, so it's like, if we've been doing that, like there's no doubt in my mind that we don't have that technology. And it's not that the scary part is like, either hopefully we've all been, if that happens, which is a scary thought.
It's terrifying.
Hopefully you have enough mutations in your body as a human to be able to like fight off whatever it is, or you are part of the same lineage that whoever makes the first or nuclearly activates the first virus, right? Like for mass destruction, hopefully you have, the genes to fight it. So that's like the big worry. And the problem is like, not only could we be doing this, but like our environment is. I'm sure you've read articles where it's like, oh, the Arctic ice has like viruses and like certain diseases that we've never been exposed to.
Yeah.
So like the environment's doing that. Humans are just getting like learning about it and possibly doing it. Who knows? Like that's just conspiracy theories and stuff.
COVID came from the polar ice caps, what you're saying. Well,
I mean, I'm not saying that at all. No. But I would never say that, dude. Like, I don't know. I'm not a scientist, But
no, but that shit terrifies me, bro, because like, we're already talking.
All of us. Yeah.
I mean, we're talking how immoral the people on the top are, how immoral big tech is, big government, like how they're selling data. That's what their job is, basically. Imagine if they had gene data for every human.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. Like, can you imagine if you're getting advertisements based off of your genes to where you can't not click on it because like that color sequence and structure is just like programmed in your mind that you need it. Like, wow. That is terrifying.
That is terrifying. And on a virtual space, like imagine on a headset that you can only, like if you worked, this is what's crazy. Is like Facebook talks about like, we are going to wear these headsets or like AR glasses and like, you're going to be able to interact, but like 8 hours out of the day, you're on these headsets, right? Or whatever. That's your work, right? And you're doing all your work virtual. But like, you're right. If there's advertisements or there's other things, like they have so much data based off where you look at. Like if they show you three things, you look at one from now on, they know that that's the one that you look like it's this fast, right? And it's an algorithm. So it adjusts so fast. So it's like, yeah, it's crazy to think
we're going to
about.
go from 2-dimensional data to 3-dimensional data.
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
God, they're going to know that I scratch this part of my body like 3 times a day. And if they put an ad right here, I'm going to go buy milk or something, like,
yeah. Oh, we're already anxiety driven humans too. Like, so like, they know, man, they know TikTok is also one of those, like I talked to Maddie, I'm like, I think I have like ADD or ADHD or something. Cause like, I always fidget and like, just like certain things. And my mind's always going. And then as soon as I say that, like I get an ad on TikTok for like ADHD meds. And I'm like, I'm not taking that. I'd rather meditate. I'd rather do these things. But like, I'm getting pumped this stuff instantly as I'm concerned about it or as I'm thinking about it almost. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, we already have that. I don't know how much faster or where it's headed to. Cause like that, it's out of my, like,
yeah. I mean, you can kind of get a taste. We can kind of watch as like places like China start, they don't have as much of a limit as Americans do. And so, or the government has a significant more power. I was talking to my buddy. He's a 2022 Olympian. He's in Beijing right now competing in speed skating.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
He was saying how, they might have, or like they had to get certain websites and certain programs to put on their computer, or else China's going to steal all their information, and they're not allowed on certain websites. Like he's like, I don't know if I can open TikTok while I'm there. Right.
No. We went to China, no Google. So we try to get around.
There's no
right?
Google.
Like, wow. There's no Google. They have their own. Everything's in Chinese. There's no translator, right? There's no like button that you click like on Google. Like if you visit like Russian Yahoo, you click translate, it will translate the whole page to English for you because it knows based off of data. China doesn't have that. So when we had like a layover in China. So we're like, let's go visit the Great Wall, right? Dude, to get there I'm so glad we made it back. Let's just put it that way. Cause like getting there, like we had to have someone that knows a little bit of English, translate to a taxi driver, take them to the wall. Okay. We're there, right? We're there. The guy we're sitting in with for an hour and a half doesn't speak a lick of English. Like he could have charged us way more. I think he did. I think he charged us more for the ride. Fine, whatever. We got there. Then comes the hard part of getting back.
Oh God. And we have no idea.
We have no maps. We have no access to internet. We have no, like only in the airport did we have access to internet. We have like all our apps don't work. App Store doesn't work. Like imagine no cell phone service, no text messaging, no Google Translate, nothing. I didn't bring a dictionary, which probably would have been good, right? Or some kind of like speaking device, which, but we didn't plan for any of this. Like this was all like last minute. And we didn't even know, we didn't even realize this was a thing, so like I had no way to plan. Going back, we've luckily ran into someone. This is like, literally, we were like last minute to our flight, but like, we found a guy that had a translator app. He understood that we're not from there. He found us a sketchy, like cab driver. He called this guy that he knew and he's like, hey, could you take him there? And we had to trust that he's a good person, that he's giving us like we're in good hands with this other guy and he's a good person that's going to take us to the airport. Like there's like these like layers of
there's a couple
trust.
Layers there. Yeah.
Dude, it was so sketchy. And I'm like, we were sitting there like sweating in the cab. Like, are we going to make it? Is he taking us it seemed like the right way, but I'm like, is he taking us to the right way?
You never know, man.
So, yeah. And we don't read signs. There's nothing, you know what I mean? There's nothing to base off of. So it was crazy, but yeah. So I know what he's going through.
Yeah. I was, so I spent like a month or two in Peru and like, it's a developing country. It's like, it's got modern technology. Everyone has cell phones. There's not really it's not like China. It's not like a data limit, but I pull up Google directions or Google like Transit. They don't have any information on it. Like, I'm like, I want to get to the city center. No results. I'm like, what? How? Whoa. This is like in the capital of a like fairly major country. There's just like zero data on it. So like, so what the crazy thing is, man, is like, there's like a minor train system and then like 2 minor bus systems, but then there's like 105 dudes who just drive their vans around, and those are like bus lines. I'm telling you, like, they're just like old 2003 minivans or like cargo vans. And then there'll just be a dude driving and the dude yelling on the street in Spanish, some like gibberish, right? Of like, oh, we're going to blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what the hell? And so like, you just have to hop in this guy's van and there's 17 people jammed inside. And you're like, which way are we going? I'm like, I don't know. Cause I can't look at my phone because I don't have a SIM card for this country. And then like, just like, oh my God. So you couldn't get anywhere. So I just longboarded everywhere.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. So you had to farm, but that's
figured it. I mean, but when you're longboarding 8 miles and you got 30 pounds on your back, it's like, oh, good Lord, man.
Not even an electric longboard, just like a
old school.
Yeah,
man.
That's crazy. Peru. That was in Peru. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. I don't think I have a plan to go there soon, but if I do, I'll remember.
The transit system, you're not going to get anything.
Buy a map.
Buy a car, really.
Really? Okay. Or rent a car, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Do you want to do
I guess we're privileged.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to do a little segment called Rue tells you what stocks to pick, and it's 100% financial advice, and you should definitely go buy it?
No, dude. Okay, actually, sure. No, I can't. I can't, dude. My brand. That's the thing, dude. Like, my thing is like, I won't even sell a course, dude. Like, my goal is like, I don't even want to sell a course. I'll maybe do one-on-ones in the future, like where I could like talk to someone, and like, again, it wouldn't be financial advice. This would be like, based off of your situation, and if I was in your shoes, this is kind of what I would do, but this is not financial. Like, I would have to be that, like that.
Yeah.
Cause I want to kind of be the anti-advisor, right? Like, I want to be like, I don't want to go down this medium of like, I have to get a series 7, a series 63, 65, become a broker, sell you on stock. Because that's the thing. Like, you watch all these like Wall Street or Wolf on Wall Street or whatever movie you know, that's about the market. They're all sleazy salesmen that like their goal is to get your money, like instead of get your money to work, because it's going to work anyway. That's the thing about the stock market. It's going to work almost whatever you put it in, as long as it's somewhat safe and proven over history, like the S&P 500 index, whatever, like all these things, they're going to grow over time. But like as a broker, your job is to like, supposedly your job is to beat the market. 98% of brokers every year don't beat the market. So your actual goal is trick people to think that you're beating the market in order to make money off of their money. It's crazy. Yeah. So I'd rather not do that, you know, like I'd rather not scam people. Yeah. So
yeah, like the lead guy, do you know Kramer? Like that guy,
Jim Kramer.
Yeah.
The anti stock picker. Yeah. You just you do the opposite of him and you'll do great.
Yeah. No, there's like, they like play out his stock picks and then you end up losing like 10% of your money or something like that. Like
he said to buy Netflix before Netflix crashed. Recently, he said to buy Facebook before Facebook had like a biggest loss in Facebook history, like $200 billion in one day. God, what, dude? Like, there's some kind of like, I know maybe it's not insider trading. Yeah, maybe it's not insider trading what he's doing, but it's definitely not legal, like, or shouldn't be legal. But
well, he's just giving. I mean, he's just really charismatic, and old people like watching him because they've watched him for 30 years. And they're like, oh, Jim Cramer's telling me to do this. Jim Cramer is focusing on trying to make his money and then also just being a goofball. Like, you know, if you can just get, it's like watching First Take, First Take on ESPN where they're just screaming at you. You're wrong. No, I'm right. No, you're wrong. That's just like it, except instead of sports opinions, it's money. It's financial. Yeah. It's like your life.
Remember Mari? Like that's not your child or whatever. It's you never watched that?
No.
Oh, dude, it's like Dr. Phil. It's like Dr. Phil on steroids. Oh, it's God. Like if Dr. Phil was telling you whether like the girl that is having your baby, if you're going to be the baby daddy or not. And then they're like, you are not the father. And he's like, yeah, thank the Lord. Or he's pissed off and he's like, really? Like you had set, like it was that type of thing. But that's where I reference it is like Jim Cramer is the exact same thing, but for stocks. Like, and it's crazy to me that he's still around, right? Like so many people have probably lost so much money to him because of him. I'm sure there's some winners too, but more than half probably lose money, and he's not canceled. Like he's around. Like
no,
he's got a paycheck, he's got a job. It's like what
a big one too.
Crazy.
What's the most proud you've been in like the past month?
Proud of
of yourself.
I was gonna say the world. I was like, okay,
of yourself,
of myself. Oof, dude. So I have. Like, admittedly, I have a problem with that. That's like one of my big weaknesses, I would say. Like if I had a job interview, I'd probably be like, yeah, I'm not very like I try to be humble and like I want to be like very upfront. I want to be like very charismatic. I want to be very like great, like helpful, whatever. But one of my weak suits is like being proud of myself, I'd probably say. So to that, I'd probably have to say something like, I mean, okay, moving in's kind of lame. Proud. Wow, dude, that's a tough question, man. See, that came out of nowhere.
You never know what's going to hit you.
True. That's how life is, man. I'm proud to like, it has to be immediate, dude. I don't know. Like I'm proud, like there's a few things I can think of. I'm proud to like have the opportunities that I have. I'm also proud, like, and that's like very broad, but like, I'm proud to like, cause I saw Russia, for example, like where I come from, like, I don't think I'd have the same opportunities there, So I'm proud to like live here and have the opportunities, but more importantly, like I'm proud to like actually try to get the opportunities to work for me versus like, you know what I mean? Like some people are like, oh, I live in this great country and I have all this like opportunity, but then they're like, but then you might look at their situation. You'd be like, but what are you grabbing? Like where's the, what are you actually trying to achieve? And not everyone, and I don't even say most people, maybe some, but I feel like I am proud that like I at least am doing like what I can, capitalizing on, opportunity. I'm a very big risk taker. So I guess I could be proud of the fact that like I'm willing to like endure a lot of pain for gain, right? Like I guess I could say like, I'm willing to like go to hell and back, like if I have to go down to like, so this was crazy. So when during COVID, right? Like I had to quit my job essentially, or like leave the position I was in, which I was making decent money and I loved what I did. And like, I was able to help people and stuff. So, but when that happened, when it kind of, the world fell apart, I guess you could say, I had like maybe like 15, 14 grand in my investment account, which was nothing. Right. And I was like, I have to go get a job. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't. Cause I had some other, like I had that money working for me a little bit, right? Like dividend income. I had some crypto that was like earning like nothing cause it was in the gutter at that point. But I had like, some money and I was like, you know what? I could double down on this. And I was so glad I did because that 14 grand, the market crashed at that time too. So like it went from like 20 grand to like 14, maybe 12. So like halved. That's like the remember March dip? I don't know if you, that was a huge, so like it wiped out a lot of my gains, but I said, I'm going to double down. So I invested every penny I had in my bank account, everything. And I said, if it doesn't work out, like if the economy goes to zero, the worst thing that will happen to me is I go get a job. And the worst job that I would get at the time is like sitting in front of my computer, sending emails all day, right? Or like answering phone calls. That's not horrible. Like that's a privileged job, especially like when other countries like in India, Pakistan, like there's people working for like $4, $2 an hour doing the exact same job, and here you'd make 20 or more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like my level of risk looking at it that way was like, I don't have much to risk, right? 14K is nothing, right? So I threw it all in, and luckily I did. It turned into like at the peak, it was like 80K.
Wow.
Maybe high 80s. Yeah. And like in a year's time too. So it wasn't like to like where we're at now. But then I also took money out off the table. I put it into cars. Now I have a Turo business. I put it into other investments. I diversified again into cryptocurrency more heavily. I bought a Bitcoin miner, like a small unit, like which I'm looking to build more of those. So like, I'm proud that like I'm able to like actually do what I love doing, double down on the opportunities that kind of arise out of nowhere. And I have that level of risk that like most people, I feel like are, or they're not willing to go that into, maybe they're so fear-based that it's like, if it doesn't work out, I'm going to hate my life. It's like, dude, like there's so many people that have it so much worse, and I've seen that, like going to Thailand, like I've seen people making like driving Uber, their Uber is called Tuk Tuk, I think. They called it Tuk Tuk. Yeah. And they were driving, like I asked one of the drivers, like how much, or maybe he was a bartender, but anyway, he's like, I drive, I do this part-time, I do this. So he's working like 3 jobs. And I'm like, how much money do you make? Like in dollars, because he spoke English and stuff. And he's like, I probably make like around 20K a year working these 3 jobs. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, but it feeds me because their food is cheaper, right? Like land is a little bit cheaper, like stay is cheaper. Sure. But like an iPhone is the same price. So if you wanted an iPhone, it's not any different. If you want a Tesla, it's not, I mean, they don't sell them there, but imagine if you wanted like a luxury car, like a Benz, it's the same price. That doesn't change. So like certain luxuries that we have here, and that's where probably like a lot of people are afraid of inflation is like, dude, like what if those luxuries go away? We're so accustomed to it. I feel like I'm proud, dude, like to go back to that point, is like, I'm proud that like I've had to live through some of that, is like, cause now if that ever were to happen, who's able to make it out of the dirt, like people that had it rough or seen it rough. That's why I always say like travel, dude. Like if you like want to see how bad people have it, or if you want to experience, a different environment, culture shock, if you will, like I think everyone should do it, especially in first world countries. Like you will never be the same person if you visit a third world country, because you'll be like, your whole like morals will change. Like you'll be like, I want to help these people, or like, how do I make a better world where these people don't have to suffer? Or like, if I had to get to here, what would I do? Like, it makes you rethink a lot of things, Yeah.
Like, dude, if you're in Zimbabwe, how the hell are you going to buy a Tesla at the end of your life?
Yeah.
Like, is that even possible?
You don't there. You can't, unless you like kill the prince, or I don't know what it is. I don't know who's running it, but you know what I mean? Like there's no way out unless you move, unless the whole country changes, unless, like Microsoft comes in and is willing to pay employees like decent wage, which there's no way they're going to do. Like these companies, they don't, they're going to pay the minimum anyway. So
there was a global minimum wage.
That's interesting.
Would that be crazy?
Well, the US dollar is like almost a world currency at this point. So it would have to be someone like, that's the thing, is like, we're so divided so we think like we're combined as a United States, right? Like, and I guess we kind of are, like we're one people, whatever, which we're very opposite, right? Like a lot of people are like one to the left, to the right, in the middle, green party, red party, whatever. Right. So it's like, if we could all come together as a country, great. Then you have to bring the world involved, different cultures, like different, like, morals, beliefs, religions, like first of all, good luck. Right. But second of all, like if you were able to do that, then you could talk about like, how do we solve the bigger issues? Global warming. Some countries won't believe that these are issues, like social injustice, like in Saudi Arabia, whatever, like in countries where women, like, and I can say this because like my grandparents are from Muslim countries. Like my dad was Muslim. And in those countries, like women are below men, just 100%, far below men. And it's like, how do you get people to understand that this is not okay in a way that doesn't offend them and then drives change? And only then can you talk about bigger issues, right? Because like, if you can solve those things, then you're giving actual people, humans, voting rights. You're giving them like freedom of speech again. You're like liberating them almost. And it's like, and then you can talk about like a world currency or a world, like a minimum wage, like you said. But how do you get to that point without some sort of conflict? Which is the big question.
I feel like you kind of have to start with giving financial freedom to like everyone, like
so working backwards almost
because
right?
Why would anything change if women have no power and no money,
True.
In Saudi Arabia? Like how would they even do anything about it? They couldn't enact any of their ideas, right?
Or an education even.
Or an education. Yeah. But if they have, if they make a $3 minimum wage or whatever it is, and then all of a sudden they can pay to go to school or they can pay to buy a car. And now they can do a newspaper route or whatever the hell is going on. Like, life changes when you bring up the poor people,
Yes.
You create that middle class, then all of a sudden there's a lot more voices that are heard. Right.
Yeah.
So,
but again, I think about this all the time too. It's like the trickle up economy, as they call it, right? Like right now we have a trickle down economy where billionaires rake in money. They give people jobs. Those people have the opportunity to rake in money, maybe even take ownership of that company if they get in early enough. And if you're not part of that company, you could buy stock of that company, right? Like take ownership. Like if you believe Google is going to own the world, you could maybe own it, right? Like a part of it. You can buy a share right now for $3,000, but like you could take partial ownership, and like all those things. But you're right. I think, how do you even talk about that if the whole system is built to up the people who are mega wealthy, continue raising their capital, and then feeding little bits and little bits down the road until you get to like, the bottom layer where they're having such a hard time. And this is not, the crazy thing is like, there's a book that I read. The top 20 richest people in the world own over 50% of the entire world's wealth. That blew my mind. I was like, wait, so 20 people own more money and they're hoarding this wealth. That's the problem. It's not that like they own it and they're distributing it, because that would be beautiful, right? That would make the world go round, essentially.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even need to print more money. Like this money is limitless. The problem is they're holding on to it. And I love the fact that, like, honestly, I think that capitalism is great. I think it's done wonders for the world. We built great technology from this. Like we have 5G freaking towers, as much as people want to say, oh, causes this, like whatever. Like, dude, we've built this infrastructure that is insane, like godlike. Dude, if someone from 1800s went to our like time travel to here, dude, they would like shit themselves immediely. Like, what are you doing? Like, you guys are wizards, like, like they'd watch Harry Potter and like, this is you, whatever, like cell phones, computers, like what we're doing right now, virtually across the world or whatever, it's crazy.
They've never watched a moving picture. Like they've never watched a video in their entire life. They never watched a video. That would blow their goddamn mind.
Yeah.
Like, why is it moving? What is going on? Is there a person there? Like, they would probably think they're, like have a dog. Like that's how they would probably act, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, we have so much to be thankful for, but then like it's also caused problems, and humans are very known. Like if you look back in history, we're very good at like creating good things, creating problems in the meantime, and then trying to pull back on those problems. Right. Like, I mean, there's so many things I don't even know where to, and we're doing that right now. Like, we don't know where this whole like NFT, we don't know where internet's going to go. We don't know where Google's going to go. Like robotics, AI, artificial intelligence is scary as shit, dude. Like Elon Musk talks about, he's like, dude, this could be either the best thing that's ever happened to humanity or the worst thing. So, and it's up to us to decide because we're building it, you know, and who's building it is the most important part. So it's like, man, and like, it's scary, but at the same time, it's super cool, dude. Like,
yeah,
we could have a utopia essentially, you know, if we really put our minds together. But and go ahead.
As the world is slowly but surely progressing to the point where your digital self is going to become probably more valuable than your actual self, right?
Yeah.
Like crazy as that is. How are you preparing for that?
Digital world becoming or digital self becomes more valuable than physical self?
Yes.
Like, that's a great question.
AI, you think of virtual reality, you think of Metaverse, you think of Neuralink, you think of all these things. Like, we're going to become synonymous in our brains with the internet.
Yeah. Well, okay. I guess so with Neuralink, because that's the closest where we're like cyborgs. I mean, we're already cyborgs with our phones, right? But like cyborgs in the sense of like I've talked to a friend of mine about this. Like, the first big step obviously will be for people that are like, hey, my spine doesn't work. Like, you know, now it does, thanks to Neuralink, right? Creates new neuron receptors and allows me to move my body in a way that I haven't in years or ever, maybe. Crazy. Next step, which I think we might see near closer to our 40s and 50s. I could be wrong on the timeline. I don't want to, but like the transcendence of, or allowing me to send you information through my skull. So like, which is weird, right? That's think in about our like
lifetime, dude.
Like, we're texting. This is the way I see it. Like, we're texting at a fast rate. We're talking at a little bit of a faster rate. Imagine, and we can read crazy fast or think crazy fast. Like, have you ever typed and you're like, oh, I'm typing fast, but like maybe 100 words per minute, but your thoughts are like faster.
Yeah.
So imagine us having a conversation completely silently, like we see in alien movies or whatever, but like as fast as we think, like here you go, Kalen, like, and you're picking it up and you're able to send stuff back, and we're able to just conceptualize everything.
The potential of that.
Oh, dude, it's huge. It's huge. I would love to see the
downfall of that.
True. Cause like if you accidentally send someone the wrong link, dude, like, or like, you know, say the wrong thing.
You crash their mind. What if you crash their mind?
Whoa, that's weird. Or you run into someone. What if there's a time, like if it's only for the rich, there could be a time where like we're so like the rich are so like we're already disconnected from like the mega rich. Like Jeff Bezos lives a life we could never imagine, right? Like me and you, unless we get there, right? But like they're so disconnected, and they have this capability, let's say, to transcend information, that they forgot how to be normal, or like, and then you can never communicate. Like, that's a possibility. We don't know.
It probably will, though, because that technology for sure is going to the rich first.
Yeah.
Good Lord, man.
That would be horrible.
We can't even communicate with the 1%,
or at least maybe they just wouldn't like, or maybe like you could, like maybe you could say something, but they might be like, the bigger picture in my mind, thanks to this Neuralink, doesn't compute with what you're saying. Like, even though I understand you, I feel you, but emotions have now, like, logic is so much greater than emotion, that like, I get your suffering. I get your, like, let's say a poor person's talking to a mega rich. It's like, I get your suffering. I get your, you know, like, struggling, but like, remember that the bigger plan here, Steven, whatever, that you're, you know, poor Steven, the bigger plan here isn't about you or your family. It's actually for the greater good of this species. And I'm doing my best. And like if you sat this mega wealthy, super smart, neural linked up person with Steven, like, dude, like, you might be able to communicate, but they might not even, like, you know, it's weird to think about, but yeah, it could be. Who knows?
Wow, dude.
Oh, we're getting deep, man. This is crazy.
That's a mind fuck.
Yeah.
Because they would have access to all information.
Yeah.
And you would have access to like what you read.
Yeah. Because you could be like, oh, global warming, or like, let's say maybe in the future, it's global cooling, whatever it is, right? Like whatever the social issue at the time is, it's like, you're talking to this person, you're like, dude, it's really a problem. And they're like, well, actually, yeah, the bigger picture is it's not a problem and you are worthless or whatever. Like that's literally could be their thought. And it's crazy, dude. Like Mark Zuckerberg already feels like that to me, dude. Like that guy is on he's so smart, dude. But like the way he talks makes me like, dude, there's no way he's not plugged in to something. You know what I mean? He's a cyborg, man.
You think?
I mean, maybe.
Dude, what if he's on Neuralink?
Yeah, or his own.
Oh yeah, shit. I mean, dude, he's so smart. You would think, right?
Yeah.
It's like that Spider-Man movie where they like all the Spider-Man villains always create their own technology and then they become the evil person.
Well,
they're all scientists and then
yeah. Well, you know, dude, like you've seen like people already. Like if you go on like CNBC interview, you have like a little thing in your ear that someone's talking to you, telling you like. Maybe you're up next on the segment, right? And then you're live and someone's feeding you information, like telling you like laugh, ha 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 ha. Like someone's already doing that. A person.
No, is that really?
Well, yeah, because you have like a manager. Maybe
Mark Zuckerberg sounds so weird.
Well, dude, like you ever watch Jimmy Kimmel or not Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon? Yeah. Dude, like they're mic'd up, dude. They're in here. They know, like, okay, look to this camera. Okay, like, you know, and a lot of it's pre-recorded, et cetera, right? So it's not live TV anyway. Like, there's an audience that's not even there sometimes. That's just like a laugh track. So they know what's like coming, kind of. You know, they're mic'd in. What is the next level of being mic'd in to a human? Well, something implanted, right? Like we're there, man. We're probably closer than we even realize, dude.
And then it's going to hit. And then what happens then? Like, you know, there's going to be a portion of the population for sure that's like, fuck that. But then they're going to be so disadvantaged.
It's like,
theoretically.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's like the same thing that's happening with this older generation. That's like, I don't want to learn technology. Yeah. But like, you're so disadvantaged.
But you're never going to, and every day you become less relevant in a way, right?
Yeah. Oof,
like, if you can't operate Turo, how are you going to make money if you have 2 Teslas, right?
Well, that's the thing is like, that's my goal is like self-driving cars, you know, like if they ever do that network, they could just drive themselves. I have like 5-10 of them. Yeah, dude. But I mean, it could not happen too. Like my thought is like, what if it doesn't happen? What's my backup plan?
Do you think we'll be in I just feel like self-driving is such a liability to whatever company is running it that like, I feel like we're not that close to that actually. Like we have the technology, but like, you know, if we have self-driving cars and there's still 1,000 accidents a year because of it, people are going to lose their goddamn mind. Even if we have 100,000 accidents, if people are driving.
Yeah. I think that's why it hasn't happened. I think I could be wrong, but like, if you look back, like 2015, 2016, Elon Musk said, we're like a year or 2 away from level 5 FSD, which is full self-driving, right? Which is like fully autonomous. You don't need a driver. He's been saying that every year up until now, pretty much. He's like, we're a year or 2 away. Now he's saying we're a year away. And I'm like, but you've been saying that for like what, 5, 6, 7 years now? It's like, but it could, maybe it is there, right? Like I drive my Tesla, I put it in like even just autopilot, which is like the more basic full self-driving, slows down, it speeds up. Most cars are getting this. Like if you drive a brand new Ford, if you drive like a Chevy, like all these new cars are getting like smarter. They know lane assist, even like if you swerve a little bit, they'll correct. They're getting smarter. And I'm like, maybe the technology's there. But like what he's not talking about is like maybe the regulation isn't, like maybe the government's just like every meeting Elon goes into with Joe Biden or whoever, right? Like whoever's the top, whoever he has to talk to get like permission or like a new law passed. They're like, well, I don't think your technology's ready yet. Or maybe let's reconvene
because they're old.
Year. Yeah, dude, they don't understand it. That's the same thing. So it's like, even if it's like, Elon's like, we're ready today. Like he's like, today he announces FSD is ready. Dude, the government could be like, well, we're not ready for it. We're not ready for that change. The public is not ready for that change. Let's talk about it next administration. Next administration comes. There are also 60, 70-year-olds. Let's talk about it next time. You know, and like, dude, this could go on for well past until every company's ready. Like every Ford is ready. Toyota's ready. And then like, where's the curve? Like, because a lot of people invest into Tesla because they're ahead of the curve. Like they've got the technology, they've got the better batteries, they've got the EVs. But if you let every company catch up, dude, then why invest in Tesla? Why invest in Elon? Like he's not, you know what I mean?
So he has an incentive to try to get this going. So while he's
100%.
still ahead.
100%. Yeah. And it's crazy to me how aggressive he is on social, because you'd think that if he wanted to get things done, he wouldn't attack politicians. But he doesn't care, dude. And that's why people like him too, which is also absurd. Because I would think like somewhat conservative, but also liberal dude would be perfect. You know, a guy that can talk to both sides, but he's just gunning it. Like he's like,
because he's too smart to fall onto sides. I think.
True.
You know, true. Like he's like, oh, let these people do their thing. You know, like
he's already on Mars, dude. He's like, his mind is already there. Yeah.
Well, that's what he would say is like, he computes, his mind computes is, well, which decision do I need to make? Do I need eggs this morning or oatmeal this morning? What's going to get us faster to Mars? You know, like that's crazy. Like the level he's at.
That's crazy.
Well, if I eat oatmeal, I'm going to do better today. And we're going to be 10 days closer to Mars. It's like, what the hell, man? Right?
Yeah.
Like, where do I like? Think
so
about
is that. He's got to be hooked up then. He's got to be Neuralinked up.
He's like just the Einstein, man. He's the Einstein of our generation.
True.
Like his brain is going to be preserved forever, just like Einstein's, which is kind of
like in Futurama, dude.
Yeah.
You ever seen that? Yeah.
No, I haven't seen. That was the show that would always come on, and I'd be like, when I was like 12, I was like, why is it so weird?
Go watch an episode that you'll see like a bunch of like George Washington head and like Walt Disney, and they're all preserved in these water tanks. Yeah, it's interesting.
Do you think that technology is going to happen? Like, is Walt Disney coming back, dude?
In our lifetime? I don't know.
Could you imagine?
Aren't some of them cryo like preserved or something?
Well,
yeah, I don't know.
The thing is also is like, yeah, they're smart, but they'd be so not ready for the world they're going to walk into.
True.
Right?
Yeah, dude.
Like you or me might be as smart as, you know, Walt Disney because he died in 1980 or whatever it was, you know?
Yeah. If we have access to information. Yeah.
Yeah. If Walt Disney pops back in and it's 2080, like you and me are going to be so much more inclined versus imagine our grandchildren are going to be so much more inclined to the technology at that day than even he would.
Yeah.
But he is a marketing genius. So who knows? But that curve would take years, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting to think about. But my curiosity is like, I guess, well, no, with technology speeding up, since we're still experiencing the speed up of technology, I guess it's just going to get even harder. Like if Elon Musk were to get frozen, like someone like Walt Disney 40 years ago, or what did you say? 80 years ago? When did he die?
I don't know. I can look it up. Probably like 40 years ago or something.
But like he would have a culture shock. But like for Elon, it could be like 10 years if like he passed away and technology got crazy.
66, fast. Bro.
Okay, so 60 years.
Wait, they have two dates of his death.
Weird. Okay.
They say he died December 15th, 1966, and also February 15th, 1966. What the hell does that mean? I don't know. I don't know. It's just like one of those quick results too. Is that like when he got frozen or something? I don't know. I'm not really seeing anything about it, but like weird, bro. Weird. Wikipedia says December 15th. I don't know. Maybe that's a typo. Maybe they're trying to fuck with us, but
they're like, they know that we're on this subject. They're like, yeah, let's just throw this in there.
I mean, they probably do, right? Like they're listening to us right now. So
Zoom, I hear, is very liberal with the information. Like they're willing to sell a lot.
Oh wait, what do you mean? Like they'll just
like they got in trouble. Well, like I've heard that like because during COVID when everyone switched to Zoom, their revenue skyrocketed. But the problem was like most of the users are free users. So where did that money come from? Well, they found like people that looked into the company more. I didn't do as much. I'm just like basing it off what they did. But like analysts looked into the company and they said, oh, a lot of their revenue actually comes from selling data. I'm like, what? Like, how does that work? Like, what are you selling? Like, I guess people sign up information, emails, like maybe SaaS
Just
companies,
listening to us.
Maybe that, dude. Yeah, dude. I don't know. Maybe having it downloaded like Facebook, like because Facebook can listen in the background. Mm-hmm. They have their privacy like completely open. Maybe they have something like that. I don't know. I don't know how liberal they are with it.
You know what I thought about is like, theoretically, don't these tech companies have access to like everyone's phone in a way, right? Like,
yeah, to an extent. Yeah.
So like the billionaires, the marketing geniuses, like if you just like went into their notes app and downloaded their notes, that's like billions of dollars worth of ideas probably. Right? Like, yeah. Theoretically,
I'm not a hacker, but
Apple could just be like, oh, I want to know what Elon Musk's notes app looks like. And then he's going to be like, show us the step-by-step of how Neuralink works or whatever the hell, or like, or like a social media guy, like writing down like his next 15 videos that like that's worth $100 million in some way, like, or whatever it is.
Yeah. And I think that, obviously they're probably smart enough to not double encryption, triple encryption. I don't know what they're doing, but I think that's why Tesla wants to make their own phones, right? To own the data. I don't know if you've heard about that. They're working on like a Pi phone.
Pi phone.
Yeah, look it up. It's actually really cool. It has a lot of really cool. They're the first phone supposedly, if they do make it, to not have like the little icon, like the little dot on the notch.
What do you mean by
PIE, I think phone. Yeah. Try Tesla. Maybe look up Tesla or maybe it's just PI. Oh, it might just be PI because I'm crazy. Yeah.
That sounds cooler. Like just this one?
Yeah. Check that out.
Whoa.
So Model Pi.
Neuralink is like
so that top. Yeah. So look at the top left right on the notch where the notch would be on the phone. So that camera, or there's a camera there.
Oh.
But they apparently have a technology. I don't know if it's patented yet, but they apparently said that they have a technology that the camera will disappear when you're using the phone, and meaning it will be a screen. But once you go into the camera app, it will like illuminate and become a camera again. So that was really crazy to me because no one's been able to figure out the notch, dude. Samsung's the closest, I think, with Google up there, where they just have like a dot, but they have it supposedly figured out. I don't know. That's just, let me run to the bathroom real quick.
Go for it.
1 second. But yeah, check that out. All right.
Okay. Welcome back.
Thanks. What did you think? Or what do you think?
Okay. I'm like checking it out. I'm trying to read this a little bit, but wild.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
Supposedly, it's going to be faster than any phone, right? Like the camera technology is going to be insane. It's a different look. I feel like than any phone, because obviously the front and the back looks insanely different. I guess the goal is to, with any phone, to make it look like people to look at it and be like, whoa, what kind of phone is that? Right. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you get that shock value. But
it's saying,
I don't know. Yeah. See,
closer
way
to 2030. Well, this is what Elon does, man, is if you notice, he leaks this information before he somehow gets someone to graphic design this based off of his vision in his mind. Cause he's already made this phone in he's already made it in his mind. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So he starts releasing, like having release dates for things that the technology doesn't exist yet for them. And then because he releases it, hype builds. And then the people that are smart enough to actually develop the technology, he goes and hires for $2 million a year. And then they make the technology for him, like he gets 7 people to quit their job from Google.
That's exactly, dude. It makes me like, dude, if I had access to his wealth, man, if I did, I probably wouldn't do anything. Like if I think about it, like if I got wealth when I was young, like really young, right? Born into it, whatever, I probably would do nothing, right? I'd probably just sit on the wealth, which was most people. If you build the wealth, then you would have these great, brilliant ideas. You'd have a vision most likely, and then you'd be able to do stuff like this, which is, I think, how Elon, like thinks of all this is like, he's like so plugged into the future that he's like, and he has the access to money that he can do this. Cause like, there's no way, like if me and you went in and said, let's make a phone, there's no way we would be able to do this with the resources we have right now. Right. Like, yeah, it's crazy. And I'd love to, like, this is like stuff I love, dude. Like, it's crazy.
So it's saying like the specs are 1 to 2 terabytes, 16 gigabytes of RAM. That's more powerful than the brand new MacBook I'm using right now. That's crazy. In your hand, like, that's 1 to 2 terabytes and 16 gigabytes of RAM. Like, that's ridiculous, bro.
A little insane. Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything else in there? Nothing besides that one picture?
Not
Tesla
not
watch.
that much. I mean, they were talking, like here it's like how it will connect to Starlink.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know.
See, that's something that, okay. So did I finish the video? Oh yeah, no, I finished the video. So I made a video talking about Starlink because they're coming out with an IPO supposedly. And I'm like, man, I would really like this IPO. The video was more about like how to buy IPOs, but like I mentioned, like, what if, because people are like, there's no way they're going to be a phone company, right? They're like, they're a satellite internet company. They have somewhat low latency. It's pretty much a low orbit satellite company that's just going to provide internet access to remote or like rural areas, right? Very like remote. Like no one, anyone that has like satellite right now would have them and be pretty much up to par with what me and you in the city have. So it's like great. But then I think about, well, what if they became a phone company? And like most people, like I've read articles and they're like, no, it's just not possible. Or like, it's going to be bad quality. And then I look deeper and Tesla, Starlink, or technically SpaceX owns Starlink right now. But they have a patent not a patent in their, I think it's an S1 or something like that, in their actual like building blocks of their business model. Like they write down a plan that of creating a mobile part of or segment of their business. And I'm like, how do people deny something that they have already been writing on, like, to government, that like entities that are like, yeah, we're thinking about doing this. It's like, it's crazy. So yeah. And to have your own phone, you're becoming an Apple on steroids, because Apple is great because they're like, you can connect your watch, right? I have an Apple Watch. I have an Apple phone, an iPhone. I have a Mac. So I can send like my files, dude, like just AirDrop, just to give you an example. Like, AirDrop, amazing tech, dude. Windows doesn't have crazy. It. Like I can record a video on my iPhone, AirDrop it to my PC, edit it, put it back on YouTube like that, like,
and it works better than like sometimes it works better than the cord going in your computer.
Yes, exactly. So I'm like, if Apple had their own, like Tesla would be if Apple had doing this, right? Tesla doing their Starlink thing and they making mobile internet. It would be like if Apple went ahead and bought Verizon, right? And then also bought Comcast and said, we also own internet and we also own like you can have the carrier service through us and maybe only us, because that's probably what they do, right? Which is like monopolizing the whole ecosystem of technology for themselves, which props to Tesla, dude. Like for a company that was like, we're going to make cool cars, electric cars. Then they're like, oh, actually, we're going to make cool cars that also drive themselves. Oh, actually, we're also going to build an energy company that's like solar plus battery power, like everything, which is like making a smart home essentially. Then they're like, you know what? On top of all that, since we have this other company, why don't we make a phone that also connects to probably Neuralink, like you saw, probably connects to this other piece of tech that we haven't even finished yet. It also connects to your smart home. It also connects to your car. It also, like, dude, just full connectivity. And then also, you don't have to ever use a carrier for your internet anymore. It's like
Jesus,
us. It's like, what are we, like, what are they? They're so far ahead, man. That's why they're so far ahead. They're so overvalued for stock price. But when you think about all these technologies, it's like, are they overvalued, or are we just like pricing in future value,
Yeah. I mean, dude, like if anyone doubts Elon Musk, dude, you're silly. You're silly. What are you doing?
Yeah. The worry is like if he dies, dude, that's the big worry. Like if he just has like a heart attack
from working or like 95 hours a week since he was like 8.
Yeah. Or he takes like 400. I mean, maybe not this many this year, but like I think it was last year or the year before, I read an article. He took more private jets or more planes than there's days in a year. So like 400 something flights in a year. I'm like, dude, what? So he operates on a crazy scale.
400, bro?
Yeah. Yeah. Look it up. Google it. It's up there. It's out there. It might come up with like the kid that's starting to track his personal flight records. I saw an image. I don't remember even where I saw it, but yeah.
Which one you like?
Frivolous
one?
So 150,000 miles in 2018. I wonder
how many. That's a lot of miles.
That's a lot of miles. And he's usually going from California to Texas, probably, because those are the 2 gigafactories.
Sure.
20-mile trips. So what is that?
Perhaps most egregious, the plane logged a number of 20-mile trips repositioning from the south side of Los Angeles to the north side. He would fly private from South LA to North LA?
Crazy. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
To save time, man. It's all time for him.
Wow.
Time is the most precious. Like, we talk about time being the most precious asset. This guy lives that, like
250 flights. But that was 2018.
Wait, hold on. The 150 miles. Okay. Roughly 250 flights. Yeah. 2018. That might not be though I was looking at. I think it was like 2019, 2020, more recently.
I mean, he's probably just gotten more, right? That's usually how it goes.
Yeah. Well, I think it ramped up because of when they were building because this was before the Tesla Gigafactory. So it must've been while they were building it. Cause I'm sure he had to go there. It sounds like North and South LA, which is absurd. His bill for that is absurd, I'm sure.
I mean, it's worth it though. At this, like, how much is an hour of Elon Musk time worth?
Dude, I don't know. 10 million, maybe. No, an hour. Okay, maybe I was thinking like a day. Maybe $1 million. He'd probably do like $1 million. I don't know. Maybe I'm being
Jesus.
I don't know. Yeah.
That's absolutely insane. Like the fact that you are flying private from South LA to North LA, that's like what, an hour and a half drive? Like you're flying private, and he probably what is it? What does that take? Like 20 minutes then? Like from like the whole beginning part to the whole ending part, you're probably in the air for 1 minute, right? You know, like you're right. Probably that's actually crazy. In the air for 1 minute. Because the plane is flying 300 miles an hour. It probably doesn't even get up to, half speed.
Well, it's a private jet. Yeah. So I don't know.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. It is crazy. Oh my God.
Well,
I couldn't imagine that. Yeah.
Did that lifestyle though of, he probably, what do you think his sleep schedule is, man?
Horrible.
He's just
5 hours. Dude,
even maybe. Like,
no, I think 5 hours. I think because he talked about in an interview a while back that like he was doing that religiously, 5 hours of sleep, and it was killing him. So I think he could have also upped it a little bit, like 5.5 or something, like, yeah. But it's also it's not even that, like the sleep is, he has to sleep, right? Like we all have to sleep, but I think it's also optimizing every minute. Cause he was like, in an interview, he said like every 5 minutes is blocked out. So like
what?
You got 5 minutes. Yeah. So it's not even asking the question of like, how much is like Elon Musk's time or an hour of his time. It's like, how much is the 5 minutes that he gives you?
Oh my God. That level, dude.
Yeah. It's like, it's unimaginable to us. Cause it's like, how do I even like know? Cause like I don't know. I guess maybe he's got secretaries and like
everything
management
is figured
teams.
out.
Yeah.
Like when's the last time Elon Musk has cooked dinner? you know?
Or spent like a day with his kids with nothing work related. Because he got what, 6 kids?
Yeah.
Doesn't he have like a bunch of kids?
That's got, you forget, you think of him as this bachelor, man. But like he's got like a wife and kids. Like what are those kids doing, man?
But well, aren't they with different moms too? I don't remember if I like know that for sure. But I think like I know for sure. I think he's had 2 different like kids with 2 different wives or girlfriend maybe. But yeah, but 6 kids, dude. Elon Musk, 6 kids, and probably doesn't spend as much time as he should, which is sad, dude. Yeah, it's kind of sad. Like, I wish. Oh, go ahead.
Well, it's this saying Elon Musk's famous family includes a model, several millionaire entrepreneurs, multiple sets of twins. Here are all the members. So they're already old, is what we're seeing here.
Some of them. He just had a kid, I think, a couple years.
Yeah, it was the one with the strange name where he's like, haha, got you guys.
Yeah. Kyle or whatever. What? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what is his actually name, Kyle, but what is it? Arkwing.
I don't
know. Doesn't say how many. Wikipedia should have it, right? Elon Musk.
I don't know if it's, it might all be from the same
lady. But they're not together anymore because he had 7 children. Okay. And Grimes was his last girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
7 children. So the newest one is his 7th. Okay.
What the
That's
hell,
crazy.
Dude? Oh my God. He's got a lot of power in his family.
Yeah.
The person who thing called Super Uber is his cousin. A thing called Solar City is his cousin, which he bought out. Tesla bought out. Solar City, he's the other co-founder of Solar City is his cousin.
His brother owns some kind of like crazy company for Mars too.
Yeah, selling for $307 million. What the hell is going on in this gene? Can we get this gene put in us?
Jesus, no, bro. Dude, it's got to be there's got to be something that he's doing that no one else is doing. Like I'm sure his brain operates.
What is that? What is that optimization? What is the Musk optimization?
I don't know.
Like, what is he eating? Food? Is he like eating?
Well, I've heard he's been eating junk food now, which is kind of crazy.
Wait, what?
Yeah, well, like if you watch his newest like interview, like he's gained a little bit of weight, so he must be eating unhealthily or drinking things that are
stressed out.
Could be stress. You're right. Inflammation could be from stress. So I don't know. But like Warren Buffett's a great example because he's like I think he's 100 billion, right? Something close to that. Mm-hmm. But he eats like Dairy Queen, dude. He doesn't care. He eats like whatever.
Warren Buffett's weird, man.
Yeah.
Doesn't he live in like Omaha, Nebraska or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
What the hell is that?
Still, dude. And not even like in a nice house, like a decent house, like I think.
What the hell is Warren Buffett doing? Like what is he fronting?
I don't know. I think he's just a normal dude that's like, maybe not normal. Like he's smart and stuff, right? But like he was normal. He was curious about investing. He doubled down a few times, got really lucky. Coca-Cola was like his gold mine, dude. He made a bunch on Coca-Cola and he just lived to it. Like he just said, I'm going to do this. And it just happened to keep working because like just investing strictly, being very like frugal. Like he reminds me of like if Graham Stephan, like, Graham Stephan?
Yeah.
He reminds me of him, like Graham Stephan of back then, if Graham Stephan was a little more risky at the beginning, because I don't know how, maybe he was risky because he was like a real estate agent. So he earned a lot of money. I think Warren Buffett was the same way. He like earned a lot I think he had 100,000 before his 30s. I think 31, he became a millionaire, which accounting for inflation is probably a few million, right?
Yeah.
So he was really smart too. So I think if Graham Stephan keeps up what he's doing, lives frugally, invests in real estate, S&P 500, maybe crypto a little bit, I think he'll be he could become a Warren Buffett. You know, we never know.
Jesus.
Which is weird to think about.
That is true because like, you know, most of these powerful, rich people, they're 70 years old, right? Like they took their entire life to get their money. Like through social media, we get to see the Graham Stephan. We get to see Logan Paul. We get to see Mr. Beast. Like we get to see these empires being built and all these people. Like this is the groundwork for people being billionaires, right?
Yeah.
Like all those people will probably be billionaires, right? Like that's crazy, bro. And we get to see them when they're 30. Like instead of a memoir, we get to watch it real time in their videos.
Weird. We almost get to like partake in the experience.
Yeah, the come up.
Which is kind of like that's. So I watched a Colin and Samir video recently, just like the newest one, whatever, about the kids, YouTube kids. And he said there was a quote, and I tweeted about it. I was like, he said something like, cigarettes or social media is like cigarettes for our parents, something like that, where it's like they were so addicted to cigarettes that we are addicted to social media like they were cigarettes, essentially. And I was like, whoa. And like, it makes me worried that like we want to build this stuff, but then yet again, like we can't get caught up in it, which is the hardest thing. Like back then, dude, like when Warren Buffett was coming up, dude, it was so easy to invest and you could be caught up in it, right? You could, because you just become smarter, right? And you could just become, but there's not really a super negative, maybe penny stocks you could say is like, well, it's risky, like don't get caught up in that. But now we have so many more avenues, both for the good and the bad. And it makes me think like, just like you said, like we could be like watching someone's come up, and in our experience, in our brain, we could be thinking like, oh, we made it. Like not on the conscious level, but on the subconscious, we're like, oh, we made it. So we stop trying as hard and we stop like doing the things we need to do to actually make it, because we've kind of experienced it in a way. We've kind of itched that itch, you know, like we've said, like I've seen what that leads to. Right. And it's like, it's like almost a gift and a curse, because we get to see it. And then we also can like devalue our own ability to do it because we've kind of lived through it, which is weird. Yeah. Anyway. So like, when he said that, it kind of hit me. I was like, damn, like, I don't want to be the one that's like experiencing it to fulfill myself. I want to experience it myself too. So like, I don't know what the vow or promise we should be making to ourselves as content creators to avoid that, because there's something that we need to do. I don't know what it is, because you can't shut it off. You can't be like, oh, I quit social media. Because then you just, exactly what you said earlier is like, you just killed off your opportunity, right? Like there's so much opportunity. You can't just escape it, but there needs to be ways to separate the consumerism side of it, the consumption, I guess, and the creation, which I don't know how you do that, but yeah, that's something.
Well, there's a certain sect, a very large certain sect of the world of America that is strictly a consumer. Strictly. Yeah,
true. Mostly,
they're not
right? Most people
creating anything, right? That's crazy. You know, and people that are creating shit don't have time to be a consumer, so they're not consuming. They're just letting the masses.
There's no in between, or you think that there's?
I think that the in between is just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right? We enjoy these people's lives, or like, you know, when you're consuming, you're enjoying these people's lives, and then you have less incentive to go do it, and like
oh wow,
like I'll go, you know, if I send an idea, right? Okay, this is like practical. If I send an idea to a person who is strictly a consumer, they say, oh, interesting idea. And then I'm like, well, I didn't get anything from all they did was consume it.
Yeah.
Versus if I sent an idea to you, you'd be like, oh, tweak this, change this, do this. This is good. This is bad. This, go like this, go this way. Right. Versus everyone else would be like, okay, that's cool. Cool job. The hell was that? Like that happened to me yesterday. I like had an idea. I was like, I shot it to somebody and they were just like, cool. That might be a good idea. And I was like, that didn't get me anything.
Yeah. And it's weird because it's crazy that you recognize that too, because I feel like the people that what you're talking about is like that exchange where it doesn't happen, right? Like you just send it and you don't receive anything back, like even a thought really. I don't think they even realize it. Like, I don't think those type of people even understand that they're living in the matrix is what like the only thing I can think of. Like they've, what is it? Blue pilled, I guess. They blue pilled, bro.
Well, they're on to the next thing to consume, right? They're like, oh, nice.
Huh.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. It's crazy.
Yeah,
like I've just started to kind of realize this in my brain in the last month. I've my productivity, I've been trying to need hyper it, right?
Yeah.
100%. So I've been like trying to do this, but then I'm realizing the more and more I do this, I'm like, I think I'm pretty good at being dedicated to something. And I've just somehow figured something out before. I just couldn't find it. I don't know, maturity, whatever it is, failing a bunch of times, but something I'm doing right now, I just feel like I'm evolving very quickly, and I'm very quickly like, I don't give a shit about entertainment. I don't give a shit. Like my YouTube I watch a quarter of the YouTube I used to watch, and 90% of it is informational based versus before it was probably, I pretend it would be more informational based, but it's probably 70% entertainment. Yeah.
Huh.
In the past month, I've been like, I don't give a shit, bro. I don't have time to do that. I don't want to do that. I need to get what I need to know, and I need to move on so I can get to the next thing. Cause there's always something I need to be doing to go one step further.
Huh. How do you, if I can ask you this, like, how do you think that has changed you as a content creator too? Like not just like as a person that,
as a content creator.
Do you think about your content like that too, where you're like, now I want to just create?
I think,
it sounds like
I like
a little bit.
Yeah. No, I'm totally, so this is how I was thinking about it. I was running one morning and I was like, okay, I don't feel productive. Like, I feel like maybe I block out 8 hours of my day that I want to be doing something productive, but then I'm only really doing work for 2 hours of the day. The rest of the time, my mind is not focused, right? I don't want to make, how do I make that 100%, 105%, 110%, 120, 15%, 120%? So now every day I've been trying to push that barrier a little bit to the point where like, I kind of got into a rhythm of releasing like 3 podcasts a week. And the first time I did that, it was like, it took 80% of my energy. And now I've just efficientize it or whatever the word is. Boom, 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 boom. And now I'm like in the 4th week of doing it. And it's probably 40% of my energy. Cause I've just I've made it more efficient, but my ceiling has also gone up. Cause I've learned how to do it. And I'm like, I need to expand. I need to have this space so I can actually learn about my guest. I need to have this space so I can pursue other creative interests. I have this space so I can pursue other entrepreneurial ideas, or like spend time to just think,
Yeah. Spend time with yourself even.
Yeah. I think that changes everything. Cause I was talking to my other friend he's got a little bit of business going on. He sells soap, but,
cool.
Like a soap company, which he's like, decently successful, like pays his bills.
Sasquatch or whatever. Squatch.
Yeah. Like exactly the same kind of marketing thing. Okay. But he was saying how like, he kind of felt like he was getting a little content with it. Cause he found success when he was like 17, 18 with his first company. And now he's on to his second company. And it's just kind of been like enough to get by for like the whole time kind of thing. Yeah. And he's like, I feel like I got content, but now, but he's like, so I'm just kind of like scroll, and like he's being a consumer and just like scrolling through information. It's like, I was like, dude, you just got to stop you got to, if you have 3 hours a day where you're consuming information and you just literally consume nothing, you'd have 3 hours to think. Imagine the creativity output you would have if you just spent 3 actual hours thinking. You'd change your life, bro, because consuming TikTok or Instagram or YouTube is literally doing most of the time zero, especially if it's entertainment based.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's been a challenge for me as like an investing content creator. Is most people want to be entertained. That's pretty much what you just said. Is like most people want to be entertained. There's a few people in the world, I guess not a few, but like a smaller percentage that is looking for value, which is what it sounds like you've stumbled upon in yourself. You're like, oh, I want to do that, right? Which I hope more people become that. But ultimately, we need people that consume, because otherwise we wouldn't have revenue streams and content creators wouldn't be anything. But
or anyone that has any company wouldn't be anything, right?
Yeah. And that's why Mr. Beast and the kids channels and these like entertainment based businesses are doing so well, right? Like they're exploding with growth because their focus isn't to educate you. Mr. Beast isn't like, here is the top 10 stocks to buy for January of 2023 or whatever, right? If he was, he would get a fraction of the views. Sure, his CPM would be higher, but his views counts are going down drastically, not even enough to make up for the CPM. Yeah. So it's like, okay. And that's my thought, is like, wow. So when I first started, if you watch my first videos, they're absolutely dog shit. Don't watch them. I'm just saying, if you did, right, don't watch them. Seriously.
I should pull them up right now.
No, but like I was so focused on the education, right? Because I came from, like, I worked at a company that sold IRAs, right? Like I learned about that, even though I loved video games and I was very creative. I liked writing. I liked painting. I was a very creative person from a young age. I played with Legos, dude, but at the same time as like, I was going into this space that was heavily numbers based. All education, no fun, no playing, no joking, no. And I'm like, I'm watching these creators too, because I'm trying to learn, right? Like you have to learn. So I'm watching the Meet Kevin and the Graham Stephan and the whoever, right? Even Warren Buffett, right, at his talks and stuff. And I'm like, okay, they're all focused on numbers. Sure, they'll throw in a joke or two, but like they're all focused on numbers. And I'm like, is that what the people want? And now I'm even like more recently, I've been thinking about like, how do I transform my content to be both information based, but educational, like both, like entertainment and educational all in one, not separate, not TikTok is fun and energetic, but then serious on YouTube. Like, how do I make both forms of content intercombined? Right. And that has been the biggest mind fuck for me, because it's not that it's never been done. I'm sure there's people out there that are doing something similar. Andre Jick is a good example, because he's like a magician that like he does magic tricks, but at the same time educates you on finance. And I'm like, okay, but like, how do I make it more than that? Like, how do I make it fun? Because I'm not a magician, So I'm like, how do I make it fun? How do I make it? So that's been a really big hurdle of mine. I don't know if you like, because you're a content creator, I'd love to pick your brain if you have any ideas. And if not right now, it's okay. It's just, something been on my mind. Like, how do I strike through that?
I think it's the idea. I think it's, you need to gamify each video. Like, what if instead of talking about a stock, you bought the stock in real life, and then they're like, they watched you fail or succeed. And then they're like in the ride and they're being purely entertained based off of your actual human emotions of like, oh fuck, I just lost $200, or like, hell yeah, 1K baby. And you're getting that. And it's like that cheap entertainment, but then also you're explaining your decision-making along the way.
Yeah. Cause my worry, I love that. Cause my biggest worry like while thinking about this has been like, I don't want to be one of those like shill guys, the guys on the internet, on TikTok, like the top TikTok gurus, stock gurus. What is it? Stock talk. That's what people are calling it, right? Like they just like go buy Dogecoin, right? Like that was the original one. Like go buy Dogecoin. It's going to go to the moon. And then it's like, okay, that guy that shilled you Dogecoin or sold you on Dogecoin is now talking about 10 other meme currencies. And that's all they do. And I guess I shouldn't be, I guess my worry is kind of like stupid, because it's coming from a place of like, I'm not them. Right. Like, but to me, I'm like, I just don't want to become that. So it's like, yeah, I guess it's always that. I guess those fears are always from something that like, oh, I don't want to become that, so I'm not going to do it. But it's like, no, you should just try. And like, even if you suck at it, like, cause I don't think I'm going to suck at it. Like, and I could be wrong, but anyway, just something on my mind. I'm like, how do I do both?
So you're fearful of becoming too entertainment based is what you're saying?
I'm fearful. I guess that's one way to look at it. I guess it's more like I'm fearful of more so focused on the entertainment that I lose sight of the investment portion, like and the rationale, like the level-headedness and the
of yourself or of your content.
Both, I guess. Like, I don't want to lose myself in like the entertainment, like being, and I guess I don't think I will, right? Like at the end,
you don't want to be Dr. Phil. You want to be a doctor that's named Phil.
Yeah. I guess. A doctor. Yeah. I don't know. I guess like it's tough to say like where the content will take you to, because I feel like we adapt with what works, right? Too. That's kind of like part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like if Logan Paul never did the Woods video, if you know what I'm talking about, he would have never had to apologize. He would have never became, I mean, maybe for a different reason, he would have became a sensation, right? He wouldn't have the growing pains that he would have had, and now he wouldn't be who he is, right? So it's like, it's tough to say what will make and break you, because you just have to do it. But anyway, and I've been experimenting. Like, I have a TikTok that did like almost 700,000 views. That was like my biggest, and I was like, dude, this is awesome.
What was the
like,
TikTok?
It's like lower in my feed. It's crazy because it took almost 200 videos to make that one. And it was just about like,
can I even pull that up? Like,
yeah.
Cause like, is there a search engine on TikTok? Like,
No, you just have to scroll, man.
God. You know what I hate more than anything? When social media platforms start auto playing things, but right when you open the app, that's how they get you right from the back. Entertainment. Boom, 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 boom. I'm like, I need to think. I need to know what's your TikTok handle?
Happy. TOBERU. So happy to be Rue. Yeah.
Dude, I read that as happy Biru for like the first 12 times I read it. And
Are you serious? Dude, that's so funny.
Like, what the hell is Biru?
Yeah, I had another guy. His name's Connor Price. He's really cool. He was on my first podcast. He's like a musician on TikTok. And not just on TikTok, but he's a musician. And he's also an actor. He's been in a bunch of like films, and super cool guy. He said he read it as happy to be Rue. Like to be Rue was like one word for him. And I was like, no. So like, I think I need to change that. And I don't know what I'd change it to. Cause on YouTube, I'm investing with Rue.
Is Rue G like not available?
No, Rue G's like, well, that's Rug though. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to read as Rug.
Be Rug.
I'm not
what's your last name?
Rug pulled. No, I'm just kidding. It's dude, you don't want to know. It's Garifullin. So it's even worse. It's hard. And
what if you have a stage name? What if you're just Garfield, like Rue Garfield?
Dude, it's funny. That's been an ongoing joke for a long time. Like since like elementary school, people were like Garfield. And I'm like, dude, Garfield's the cat, man. I don't know. Maybe
not the cat. Maybe just something Garland, Rue Garland. Rue Grant.
Rue G. But like, see, I like Rue G because it's simple. It's easy to remember.
What if you just G-E-E? Rue G.
Like Gary V.
Yeah. Yeah. You just put two E's so they know how to pronounce it.
Rue G. So that's interesting.
Take that handle before this podcast comes out.
Yeah. When is it? You said in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, it'll be a couple of weeks.
Okay.
So, yeah. No,
I was thinking R-U-E, like Rue, R-U-E, and then G. But my girlfriend or my fiance.
Bad though. It's like Rue the Day is what I think of. I don't want to Rue.
See, yeah.
It's like iCarly, man.
Maybe just Rue. Like if it was just R-U and that's it. But the thing is with handles, they have to be, I think, like 3 or 4 characters. So you can't, like on YouTube, it'd work. On YouTube, it'd be like Rue. Okay, easy.
Rue.
But
Rue G.
Yeah, it's funny. Graham Stephan said the same thing. So for one of my birthdays or something, or I don't remember what it was. It was a holiday. Cameo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you can like ask someone to like do something or whatever. Sure. So Graham Stephan's on there, and he's like the biggest finance YouTuber. And my fiance Maddie, she knows that. She's like, oh, you follow him, whatever. So she bought, I think it was like 200. I don't know. It was like a decent amount of money for him to just go on my YouTube and give me advice, which is early on. And this was before the whole Creator Now. This was before, because in Creator Now, dude, I was so stoked, dude. Ryan Trahan subscribed, dude. And I was like, this is like mind blowing. This is insane. Right. But Graham Stephan's advice was huge. And my old YouTube name was Ruslan G. So it's Ruslan G. He's like, dude, no one's going to remember that. It's very hard to like, I read it as Russian. It autocorrects to Russian sometimes. He's like, you should change it. And he's like, you should do something like investing with this or investing. It has to be around investing for the algorithm, and it has to be about your name. Or he's like, you could even personalize it just to your name, so you could make any type of content. That was his big advice. It's like, you could make it any type of content if it's just you. That's why Gary V, that's why Graham Stephan, that's why like Mark Cuban, I don't know what, you know what I mean? So it's like, and I thought about that and I was like, man, like you're right. Hard to pronounce. Maybe just Rue, right? So like, I was like, okay. So I changed it like almost, I don't want to say the same day, but like a few days later, I was like, investing with Rue, let's do it. So I doubled down. But now I'm like, it's different on different platforms. So maybe it should be something.
You got to get streamlined, man.
Yeah.
I don't mind Rue G, G-E-E. That Gary, you could be the next Gary V.
But G.
What's your first name? How do you pronounce it?
Ruslan.
Rusey G.
See, it's like, but that's so, I don't know. It's just,
I like Rue. Rue's a cool name. Rue's different. I don't know any Rues.
Yeah. Rue's different. And I feel like it's not too hard to pronounce. It's easy to remember, like kangaroo. Yeah. Someone said you should just do Kanga. And I'm like, that's horrible, man.
That sounds like you're in Black Panther. Kanga.
Yeah. So it can't be that. Yeah.
Damn, dude. Interesting.
If you come up with something, let me know.
Yeah. Well, send me that TikTok. I couldn't find it. That's the problem.
Wait, I have to turn down the volume, I think.
Yeah. Or just send it. You can just send it my way, or the link, because I searched up like, your TikTok handle. And then nothing came up because you don't have 100 million followers, right?
Really?
Well, I'm just on my computer, right?
Okay. Let's see. I'm looking for it.
Like just on Google.
Yeah. So can I send it to you like text message?
Yeah, you can text it. I'll just get it through my computer. Yeah.
So I had so this is what's crazy. I tried so many different things on TikTok, right? Like everyone does, right? Like I tried doing a little bit of comedy very early on, because I'm like, that's what's blowing up, right? Entertainment. Then I was like, you know what? I should stick to my niche. So I started doing like educational based content, because that's what I was so familiar with.
Sure.
And then I started doing like, dude, I have so many random business ideas, and I never put like the best ones on there. I only put like the ones that were like, I could entertain the idea. I don't want anyone to steal this
on there.
No, dude, actually, I would have had one go viral. I was starting to get like thousands of views on it, like almost, I think it was like 14,000. And someone said, if you don't make this, I will. And I don't want to spoil it. Like it was a really good idea. Similar to the one I told you, which, by the way, if someone's listening to this and you want to make that app, don't do it, or else I'll sue you. Just kidding. No, but like, so
how to do that?
No, I guess I don't have anything like in writing. No, but but like
an app developer. Maybe. Well, if you're an app developer and you want to help Rue, hit him up,
dude. Yeah, dude. I'll give you equity. I'll do all the marketing. I already have a following in the niche. I'm sure we can hit up I only have 14K on TikTok, but if you have more than that, like props to you. If you have less than that, hit me up. So anyway, so I started doing a bunch of stuff that's like business ideas, random things, like interesting. I did like life-changing habits. I did it. What?
That makes sense. No, keep going.
Yeah. And then I got one or a few that were like, I was like, okay, what are the billionaires doing? Right? Like, what are like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, what are they doing? And I would look them up and I would look at their stocks that they own. And I'm like, dude, I could just make content about that. So I made a few videos on YouTube and on TikTok. TikTok was to move people to YouTube. I was like, if I can make a TikTok short version of what they're doing, post it on TikTok, move them to long format on YouTube, bada bing, bada boom, right? Like, so I had a video that's called Bill Gates Selling Stocks. That's like the big title on top, right? Like the grabber, right? They're scrolling through my feed. That's what they see. 700K views, which is like, I would say almost 1 million, I guess, whatever. Not quite. It's a horrible video, dude. Production quality all on my phone. Dude, I have like acne in this, dude. Like,
send it over.
Yeah. And I'm sending it. Yeah. Okay. And it grew dude, literally overnight, man. I had 1K followers. This one video took me from 1K, 1.9 to I want to say like 10 or 11K. So like 10x from one video.
Wow.
And I've put out 200 pieces of content on TikTok before that. Jesus. So I'm like, dude, if one video can do that on TikTok, imagine the same power that one YouTube video can have, because TikTok doesn't really profit. So I'm like, what if one video just blows up? And the thing with YouTube is like, there's a lot more creators on YouTube. There's less incentive for YouTube to promote your stuff. TikTok, they want new creators. They want all this. Did you get it, by the way?
Yeah, I got it. It wasn't quite loading, but let me try. Okay, here we go. Oh God. Okay, here we go. Share screen.
Okay.
Here we go.
Blew up my TikTok, and now I'm like,
we got how much?
What's the next? Does it show the view count or the
700?
Shares? Okay,
you said 700K, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you know that Bill Gates sold Apple, Microsoft, Uber, Twitter, all these stocks that you might think are, going to go to the moon? At the same time as buying a few names that you might have not heard of unless you watch my YouTube channel, which is Schrodinger, Coca-Cola bottling company, not Coca-Cola, this is the bottling company, ticker symbol KOF, and Waste Management. Interestingly enough, he actually owns only 7 stocks that make up nearly 75% of his entire portfolio. If you want to see what those stocks are, check out my next video.
Did you make a next video?
Yeah. So there was a call to action, right? So what I realized analyzing that video, I was like, okay. And I want to post more like this. And I did do a few right after, because it obviously blew up, but they didn't perform as well. They got like 30K views, 15K views, 3K views. So like a lot smaller, but I realized there were a few things that I did. I paused a lot, which is, you would think like you need to be fast on TikTok. You need to be pumping out. But what I've noticed is like my videos where I think sit in silence, it makes people connect with you more, which I'm like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So that was an interesting point that I kind of learned from this video. Another thing I noticed is I did a lot of like, did you know? Have you heard, or whatever? Like, you could use these type of words. And like, I noticed that those perform better because it makes people think, wait, did I know this? Wait, do I care? Like, even like a lot of the comments, some of them are like anger. Like, I don't care what Bill Gates does. It's like, it's also a controversial person, right? So like, there's a little bit of controversy there. So that made me realize, okay, if I want something to blow up, do it around like right now, if I made a video, probably Joe Rogan, like what, right? Because Joe Rogan's a lot in the media. Like, did you know that Joe Rogan sold if he did, right, sold all of his Spotify shares? Is it due to the controversy around Joe Rogan right
just
now?
Make that no
is he breaking
up?
Is he? Yeah. Like, that's the hard part, is like, it has to be somewhat true, right?
But like, a comedian.
Unless I'm a comedian. Yeah, you're right.
Unless you're strictly entertainment.
Or I want to get canceled.
Unless you're NBC News.
Fox News, dude, they would do it. They don't care. So like something like that, dude, if you can attack it during a point, because like this is when a lot of people also, like when I first posted this, a lot of people were searching Bill Gates, like Melinda, divorce. They were looking up So I guess the algorithm just picked it up and was just like, yeah, like even though it was about his stocks, because he was relevant in the media, it blew up. So it's like that type of stuff that makes me think like, okay, how did I do it? How do I do it again? And like, I guess like keep doing it, because like one of those videos is going to eventually hit too again and more, right? Like the next video that is like just as viral because of the already somewhat following that I've built up on TikTok, next video is going to be 7 million or 1.7 million or whatever, right? Like it's going to double, triple, quadruple, whatever. So I'm like, man, because the video before this, the biggest one was like 30 something K. So it, what, 20x, 25x from biggest to biggest. So I'm like, dude, TikTok is where it's at as far as growth potential. Shorts, dude. Sometimes I'll post a TikTok that flops, post it on Shorts. It does way better.
Dude, what's that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, I had a TikTok that got like 100K views on TikTok and then got like 40 on YouTube Shorts.
Yeah, the algorithms are so vastly different.
Yeah. No, but here's what I think happened here. Is I think number one.
You hacked it.
No, this is what I think. I think number one, the music is like, it's kind of like a vibe. It's kind of like ominous. It's kind of like, I know something and you don't. And you have this weird, you got a weird beanie hat with Tesla on it. And I'm like, who the hell are you? And then you're talking in this weird way that seems like I'm, hiding behind an alley or something. And you're telling me a secret that I don't know, like you're telling me, you're like whispering something like a secret to me.
Like, are you in the know about this crazy thing?
Did you know this happened? It's like a drama. It's like stock.
Really? You think so?
No. Yeah. Huh. And then it's also people want to feel like they're consuming like a billionaire, like I know what a billionaire knows. Right.
Crazy. Yeah.
But billionaires aren't consuming this TikTok.
Well, of course. Yeah. Elon Musk could care less, dude. If this pops up on his like Instagram or whatever reels or anything, he's like,
I don't give a fuck.
So that's what you get. That's what you got from that. Interesting.
Yeah, no, because it's you're creating a thing where like, I want to know what he knows.
So it's like, so secretive because of like did you know, or
it's the, did you know, it's the Bill Gates, who's this mystery figure to the 99%. Who the hell is Bill Gates?
Yeah.
And it's mystery. Like, what's going on here? And you have this weird vibe. And then people are like, and then it's like, it's still like pretty much, it's the mixture of entertainment and information, even if the information means basically zero, right? Like, like obviously you did research and it's probably true, but like people aren't going to go buy the stock now. Like you probably had, do you think anyone converted and bought that stock? Probably not. Right.
No.
So it's entertainment.
In a way, but sold the stock.
Yeah, it's entertainment.
Yeah,
but people feel like it's information. Boom.
So entertainment is at the core before information.
People want
you have to. Okay, you go.
So there's a rule. The person, I think that either the head of Pixar, the director of Nemo or something like that. So they're making Nemo. And this rule is called the rule of 4, and it's saying that people want to figure out what 2 + 2 is. People don't want 4. So in a movie, right, they put, oh no, it looks like Nemo's or Marlin lost everything and the wife's gone and everything like that. And now he has to go save Nemo because Nemo touched the boat and then had to get taken away. What if some YouTuber guy was like, I'm going 3,000 miles away and I need to go to Sydney, Australia right now. Let's go, guys. And then like it cheapens the entire value, right? Like, because he's giving you 4 versus Pixar saying, yo, guys, what's this? People don't want to think. People don't want to know that they're figuring it out. Like the people don't want to work for it, but they want to figure it out on themselves. It's why crime shows work. Because the whole time, like, who did it? Or like The Bachelor, who's going to be the Rose? People want they want an easy way to figure out something like no one else could do it. Like, it's like if you were in a movie or something and maybe something pops up in the corner, but 90% of the people saw the thing that popped up in the corner, but to you, it felt like only 10% of people did. And you're like, did you see that? Did you see that? I saw that. Did you see that? and it kind of keeps people engaged. Like they're
It
figuring it
makes
out
them
before everyone
rewatch it
else.
too. Like, yeah.
They're figuring it out before everyone else is. And everyone thinks that because it's designed to do the exact thing.
Huh. That's crazy. It's Inception, man.
Yeah. So that's probably why it hit.
Yeah. So here, let me send you. Okay. I want your opinion. So this is one that followed that, right? Okay. There's another one that had 100K, but this is not it. That was the second biggest one. This is one. Oh, you know what? The video following that, the one that I said, go like the next video, 40K.
Okay.
So a lot of people converted. But let me send you this.
Is there a statistic on if they converted, or is it just
no? I'm just saying. Also? I'm just basing off of views. Sure. Yeah, because you never know. Like one person could have went back and watched that. I wish they did have that. Dude,
is there a profile visits per video kind of thing? Like, can you see how many people clicked your icon and then looked at your profile from this video? Because I feel like they could do that, right?
I know I have some access to creator tools like analytics. I can double check. And I find, dude, they added me to the like creator pool, dude. It's like, I think I've made like something stupid, like $10 for like over 1 million views. No, but for like 1 million views, it's so lame, dude. I'm like on YouTube, 1 million views would be like with my CPM. I could tell you right now. So what is that? 10,000 per milli, right? No, million is 1,000.
Yeah. Or yeah.
1,000 times 20. So it'd be like 20 grand versus 10.
You have a 20 CPM?
Yeah. RPM is like 11 or 12. Yeah.
Okay. Jesus, bro. That's high. That's really high.
Yeah. I'm trying to get it to 30. I think it's all about like the words I say. Someone told me like, if I use the word invest, if I use like, that's why investing with Rue does work, is because like, if I say, welcome to the, which I need to start doing more, is like, welcome to the Investing with Rue channel. Because I said investing in the first few words, the algorithm is like, put this in the investing bucket. And then the investing bucket is like between 10 to 40 CPM. So they're like, oh, well, how much of his channel is investing? Oh, well, or how much is this video is investing? And then they put it. So that I think is fascinating, but
is YouTube only looking at like the first 2 minutes of a video? Is that how they're deciding?
No, it's also, I don't know, because I also think like some words in the description have a part, right? Like if you put like
Mr. Beast doesn't do any of that shit though.
Yeah, but
is he too big to fail?
Oh, you mean like for
like
views?
Mr. Beast does not tag anything in his videos. He doesn't put any tags. He doesn't put any weird descriptions.
I don't think he needs to at this point.
But is that because he doesn't need to because he's big, or is it just because it doesn't matter?
Maybe it doesn't matter as much as we think.
I think I like to put, since I'm like, smaller, I like to put my name as many times as possible. So that, cause I want, if someone searches Kalen, I want me to
the
come
number
up,
one Kalen.
Right. I want to come up. I mean, there's not that, luckily I have a name like Kalen Yeager. So like there's like one of me, right?
That's cool.
So that's awesome. But like, if I was Jack Smith, like Jesus Christ, there's probably 100 Jack Smiths with 3 subscribers.
At least you're not Elon Musk too, because then you would never come up,
you would never like come up. Yeah.
Jack Dorsey or whatever, like you would never come up.
Yeah. Cause there's like one.
That would suck.
Yeah. That's what I noticed. Like if you look up certain people, there's like some weird tennis player in Australia that was like good in the 90s or something like that. And he'll like take your entire name over.
Dude, you look up Ruslan Garifullin, you go to images, you see like a hockey player, a boxer, who else? Like a neuroscientist or something. And I'm like, dude, like I think I pop up eventually, but I'm like, dude, I want to be the number one,
Yeah. So maybe that affects it in some way, but I don't know.
Maybe. But Mr. Beast, I don't know. Like I've heard him in an interview say like, he's like, I can take a channel that sucks and I can tell them what to do. Like essentially like give him the blueprint. Cause he has the blueprint, man. Give him the blueprint to making the video and then like, if he watches that new video that person makes, and it's not good enough, he'll tell them to remake it till it's great. Once it's great, they post it, 1 million views. So it's I don't think the tags matter as much as we think. I think if we're talking about the long-term slow grow, like we're talking like just organic, nothing viral, nothing like what you said, like the secretive and like there's not a lot of mystery, no storytelling, and you just do it. I think the tags help because you're relying on the algorithm to just be like, hey, there's like 1,000, this guy's posted 1,000 videos. These videos have been around for 10 years. Like they're all slowly growing. Let's just keep growing those. Like the algorithm, like I'm trying to think like a computer. I don't know how a computer thinks, but like it will slowly grow your channel. But I think he's figured out something when it comes to the first 15 seconds, when it comes to how often you need to put an image on screen, how often a sound needs to happen. He's nailed it down to what's the optimal time length of a video. He's optimized where it makes sense to show, like he's probably got it down to a point where he's like, I want to show this whole stage or I want to show just me. And that's going to depend. One of those is going to make it so someone sticks around for the whole video and the other one's going to stop watching, right? Like most of the people. So he's got like a brain when it comes to knowing what a viewer will stick around for. And so like, dude, if you want to become like, that would be like picking Elon Musk's brain for like technology, but Mr. Beast would be like that for YouTube. Like just getting an hour with him, you'd get so much value. I think that like you would go from whatever you're at to 100x within less than a year, like something like that.
Yeah, dude, he could charge
which is
like
crazy.
$50,000
I would pay it,
for
dude.
An hour.
Yeah, dude, everyone would pay it. Like people would take out loans if he offered some service like that, I'm sure, which is ridiculous. Would you pay it? Would you pay it?
No, I'm caring less and less about like making strictly entertainment based content that's like totally optimized. It just kills a lot of the art for me. And so I don't think it's my niche.
You like organic.
I want it to be like, it's so much more myself. So I want it to be like, I want to be the counter, like the counter entertainment thing, like the people that are weirdly like that works too, where it's like the strict information guy, like the doctor sits on his camera and he goes like this and he tells you the COVID statistics and it gets 100K views every day. Like there's some dude in Britain.
Crazy.
Right?
Crazy. Yeah.
Versus some guys like, yo, what's poppin', guys? We're going to talk about COVID today. Let's go COVID. And people are like, what the fuck? I don't want that. I'm trying to learn something like, I don't know, or a niche or like, and also I just like,
but what if he could help you optimize your niche? Like, cause he's probably worked with not just entertainment,
Yeah.
He's just specialized in that, I guess.
I had one of my guests he's in YouTube and he's like, optimized for entertainment. He's like semi-successful at YouTube. So like it's starting to pay his bills, which is cool. But
yeah,
he was I posted the podcast I did with him. And then he was like, yo, you should change the title around. You got to like make it more clickbaity. You got to like tell me like, tell it that I called out some random person that I didn't call out or something like that. And I was like, but the thing is I don't want to attract an audience that has the attention span of a title. Like I want somebody like, and then also in my mind,
that's so true. That's so true. Actually,
the most, the is like, as simple as it is, and like dumb as it is and like incapable of it is, the best way to title your podcast is going to be like Ruji or whatever the hell in my mind, because that's going to best encompass the conversation, because you're not, in my mind, you're not investing with Ruji. You're not Ruji, hates his mom, or you're not Ruji went to Thailand and got strippers or something like you're not that. Like you're Ru G. This conversation is Ru G plus Kalen Yeager. And as rudimentary as that is what this conversation is. It's Ru G plus Kalen Yeager on February 7th. Right? It's not, it would cheapen the entire conversation to say.
So you're thinking like, okay, Joe Rogan, he would title like episode 17 with this person. That's it. Cause I've seen like, I don't know if you listen to, I don't know, what's another good podcast? Jordan, what's his name? Not Harbinger, but there's another Jordan. Peterson. Yeah. He does if I remember, I could be wrong on this. Let me double check. So I'm not like completely butchering it, but he does Jordan Peterson podcast, episode 80, then a word like this one's cruelty with Charles Joseph. This one, 79, needle points Norman Doge, right? 78, Canadian constitutional crisis, Brian Peckford. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I can see both aspects, because to you, it's so pure, so organic, like Joe Rogan, where it's like anything, I can talk about anything. So you might want to stick to that. I mean, I'm not giving you advice. I'm just the way I see it is like, that's your true self. That's Joe Rogan's true self, right? He's never changed it. Jordan Peterson is another one where it's like, the only thing he's added is like, and it could be his marketing team. I don't know who does it. He's only added like a title, like a tiny title where it's like, I don't know what it would be. I'm trying to give you an example for this. I don't know what it would be. Like if I listen, I'd have to listen to a different podcast or re-listen to this one or whatever to give you an idea of what it'd have to be. But like, for example, like what did we talk about most?
So we talked about like 170 different things.
Life creator. Yeah. Creating life. I don't know, something weird, like something that would draw your attention. Like, what the